Welcome back to episode 4 of the Busa podcast. Today we have a special guest. We are not going to disclose his last name or where he works. His name is Ryan. So in the shot over to the left of me, I'm going to introduce Elise and Ryan on that side of the table, and I will let him make a quick intro on who he is, where he works, and how he got there. And it's going to be a pretty cool podcast. It's going to go back to our roots, which is parts. So stay tuned.
Floor's all yours,
It's
buddy.
on me? All right. My name's Ryan. I work at... obviously, I'm a parts advisor. You know, I help everybody get their parts.
Case in point.
Case in point. Help you guys out, help customers out. Been in the game for about... I don't know how many years. How many years is 2006? That about how much years?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years, yeah, 18.
Next year will be 20 years.
Yeah.
Damn, you old.
I got to here to prove it, you know?
What hair?
Exactly. So, yeah. I mean, here to talk, you know, parts, cars, whatever it is.
So I got a question for you. How
Yeah.
did you get involved? How did you end up at this particular place? What got you started in part side?
You know, growing up, you know, everybody says, you know, obviously the Fast and Furious stuff. Of course, yeah. It all actually started with my dad working there and coming out of school. I wanted to do something else. That didn't work out. And then he got me a job there. And I just worked from the bottom all the way up. And
So your dad was also a parts advisor.
yeah.
I'm assuming he retired.
Now,
Yeah.
was there any training or, like, I guess my question is, did you ever, my takeaway is you didn't necessarily plan to end up right in the parts department. That wasn't.
No, right. Yeah. No, it was a job. I mean, when I first started, I did like a parts allocator, you know, just pick parts, stuff like that, take it out, technicians.
So you worked on the shop side.
Yeah, in the shop side. I was in customer base. Yeah, I wasn't selling parts off the jump. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was just lower duties, you know what I mean? Inside, behind the house stuff. I did have not really intense mechanical background, but, you know, coming from a West Indian family, I'm West Indian, by the way, everybody's a mechanic. Everybody touches cars, you know, so...
Everyone's a backyard mechanic, like we like to
Yeah.
say.
So, you know, you kind of...
Sorry, that's no shade to anyone, but we know a lot of backyard mechanics, and they have a reputation to their name.
So you kind of grow up with that in, you know, growing up West Indian, you know, everybody's
Very hands-on.
Very hands-on, whether it be mechanic, construction. So I was familiar with it, you know what I mean? So that's why I didn't mind working. And, you know, like BMW, oh, wow, you know?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to say that you're, like, working for a company that, like, low-key you like their product.
Right,
It's cool to say that, yeah.
And it's like, you know.
So my question is, did you go to school for anything before you started off working at the dealer?
I was going to school for law enforcement.
Wow, complete 180.
Yeah.
Interesting. So did you finish school or you stopped school?
I finished school. I graduated high school, tried to go to college for law enforcement. That didn't work out because apparently my placement test wasn't finished. And I had already started working. And, you know, a kid my age, I was, 18 at that time?
Yeah.
You know, making in money. And you're like, oh, yeah, next year.
You keep pushing it
Next year always becomes the next year.
Yeah.
And then I just ended up sticking with it. Like I said, it started evolving, growing, making promotions, you know? And I'm like, all right, let's see how far it goes.
So you started at 18 at the dealer?
Yeah, I was the youngest one there.
The youngest parts guy there, or like one of the young?
Well, youngest, I would say employee in general.
Wow.
Yeah. Like at holiday parties, I couldn't drink.
I mean, you were also pulling, at that time when you first started, you were pulling for the shop side.
Yeah.
So you weren't even like the parts counter.
Yeah.
You were just picking.
Yeah, I was just back in.
Yeah. So then from there, where did you go? Like, how did you move up from parts picking to the next
there,
part?
I worked into shipping and receiving. That's more, you know, obviously hands-on. And then you learn a little bit more from there.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing what control arms coming in. What is this? What is that?
A million different fucking bolts.
And if you have, you know,
common sense.
any common sense or interest, you would ask. You know what I mean? Because, you bring these parts to the parts guys that order them. Like, oh, what's this for? Or what's that for? Or why do they need this?
It piques your interest.
Same thing with the technicians. You take it out, technicians. Oh, what are you fixing? What are you, and you learn that way.
Yeah.
That's how I feel most parts guys learn.
Well,
You know what I mean? There's no actual trade.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to send you to school and learn parts.
That's my question for you is, so was there any training from BMW that said, this is a prereq that you need to complete or like a program that needs to be done before we throw you in the parts department?
No, it's all in-house.
Really?
In-house training. Yeah.
Interesting. But there was some type of training.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, there was training. Like,
And the reason-
to learn like the software, like,
Yeah.
whatever DMS they use, that dealer uses.
So
You got training on that.
I guess the reason I'm asking is because after doing this for almost 20 years now, and again, I was actually dissuaded from working at a dealer. For a dealer? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, so...
At the dealer level.
Yeah, at the dealer. I was going to go into the STEP program, and they take you to a local dealer. It was a long time ago, and I spoke with the foreman, and he's like, don't do it. He pointed over to a guy that's been there for a while, and he's like, hey, Brian, you did this STEP, right? How do you like it? He's like, nope.
Well, there is formal training for technicians. Like, you do have to go to school. You have to do STEP program, and then you do get additional training from BMW. You have to.
Yeah.
For technicians, not for parts.
Yeah. No. And so the reason I'm asking you is because myself being a little bit different, right? Having never worked at a dealer and having to figure everything out on your own as far as an independent repair facility, right? You don't have all the resources the dealer has.
Right.
I'm now a big believer in anyone who wants to become a tech or a mechanic, they should work in parts for a year,
Yeah.
right?
I think you got to know your way around
Yeah.
it before
Yeah,
you
absolutely. Yeah,
jump
yeah.
into it.
You learn how, you're learning the back end of things, how, parts work, how it takes procedures to get parts. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have to learn that as well.
Yeah.
Like how you guys
I
started
mean,
out.
I was
You know
thrown
what I
in
mean?
blind, but
But, yeah, of course, 100%.
Because I feel like, the STEP program, I don't care where you went to school, UTI or whatever it might be, YOTech, and most of those programs are a joke, right? No disrespect to anyone who graduated from any of these technical programs, but you really won't learn until you're hands-on in a shop, touching stuff,
That's crazy.
fixing shit.
You mentioned UTI is like, besides the law enforcement thing, I actually when I was already into BMW, I did gain interest in auto body. I wanted to be a body man, and I was thinking about taking classes.
dying
there.
art.
Yeah, and then I wasn't a school guy. Yeah, they wanted you'd have to take liberal arts again.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I hung that code up, and I just stuck with parts, and then
I
I
understand.
am where I am.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not
hey,
ashamed about it. I mean, I know a lot.
made your way up.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, you know your shit.
No, I mean, for
You
what
deal
it's
with
worth,
them,
I
David.
I technically I did the high school BS, auto shop program. And, this is talking not in a bad way, but, you're talking teachers who are met with, I think it's almost cliche that most of the kids, at least at the high school level, when I was that age, who are in shop class, they don't give a shit.
Right.
It's like we're sitting down learning how to put a lug nut on, and some of these kids are putting them on backwards, and I'm like, I don't belong here. I know how to put on a lug nut. Most of it's redundant, and then I went on to a 2-year program for automotive, which I never completed because it was a complete joke. I'm sitting there learning how to do geometry on suspension for a 92 Ford Fiesta, Firestar, Thunderbird, Windstar. And I'm like, I already knew the basics, right? So what I've learned the hard way in the independent side is, let's use ETK as an example. You could be the best tech in the world, but if you can't use that program to find a repair kit for a plug socket connection for the heated mirror, right? Or find, you'd be surprised. ETK it's hard to explain. There's some parts that are really fucking hard to figure out where they are.
It is, man. And even sometimes BMW themselves don't even understand it. Like,
I mean, it took me.
Like, there's a support line, obviously, that we can call anything.
Whoa. What do you mean there's a support line?
Well,
Don't give away all the secrets, okay?
yeah, no. It's for dealers. Like if there's a
We are a paid
No, it's different.
independent repair facility with
Yes.
BMW of North America.
Yes, but I think it's specifically for dealers.
for dealers, yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of a dealer. We pay like
I-
a lot of money every month, every year.
Can of worms that you should have opened.
So, you know what's crazy? I think that they throttle our bandwidth on air. ISR, independent service repair facilities, they throttle our bandwidth and give bandwidth to dealers. It's a conspiracy theory.
It's the same website that I told you about when you asked me.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
long
Well,
ago.
it's the same exact program that they use.
No, yeah.
You're not able to make like claims or anything, right?
No.
Or-
Oh no, but we can see
tickets.
but we can see service history.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, no, it's totally something different. It's only something we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to submit a ticket, and sometimes those guys don't know. You know, everything's a learning process. You know what I mean? Especially with newer stuff coming out, newer cars, nobody knows the answers off rip, and you know.
Well, in all
sometimes-
fairness, I mean, I've played around with Air for ETK Air. I mean, we've been paid subscribers of Air for what, the past 4 years in a row? Closer to 5
I
probably,
think
right?
since like 2019 we started paying for ETK AIR, and yeah, I mean,
And-
I think it's definitely one of those softwares that it's not for the weak. Like you
It's
definitely
not,
need to
yeah.
learn
Everything
it.
is there.
It's there.
just, like you
It's
said,
finding
you
it.
have to be invested in
Yes.
it to
Yeah.
want to know,
Yes.
and find, and learn
Yes.
for you to understand it.
Like it
you
tells
said,
you like step by step repair instructions
yes,
on how to
for
change
everything,
something. Yeah.
for everything. It's
and
there.
torque sequences, torque
Mm-hmm.
specs, parts, everything is there. It's just you have to invest yourself to actually
Yeah,
learn it.
you have to.
And it took me a while. It took me a
It's
long
very
time to learn
tedious, too,
it.
but,
Yeah. And I remember he would get mad at me because he'd be like, "Oh, I need you to find like the torque spec on something." And I do things differently than he does, right? Like we all have different ways of doing things. But I look for the part, and then once I find the part, I know that
Easier to dissect.
from there I go into like repair instructions. And then repair
yeah,
instructions
yeah, yeah.
will show me the tightening torque.
She knows too much.
So I go that way. Compared to him, he's like going into it blind, and I'm like, "You're just doing too much work."
No, I'm not going into the blind. You don't have to go into repair instructions. There's a specific page for torque specifications.
Yes, I know, but sometimes it's easier for me to go into repair instructions than it is the torque sequence or the torque specs.
If you say so.
Easier for me. We're all different, right?
I guess
But there is
so.
a lot of information.
Yeah.
There is a lot.
I think if you don't use, whether it's for BMW, Audi, Mercedes, whatever the software is, I think if you don't use it, you're just wasting time.
Yeah, but it's only those 1 or 2 times. You know, what I mean? Like you said, the first time you had to look up torque specs, yeah, you probably killed yourself. Like, oh, but then as it goes, it's repetitive.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
you're
the
like,
same
oh,
thing.
I need these torque specs. Boom.
Yep.
Done. You know. So
And pretty much every vehicle, even though they're different, every vehicle basically has the same main categories or like sections that you could look for things. And it seems harder than actually what it is. And
Well,
I think people who make excuses for it are just lazy.
I think my concern is I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's such a difficult program to learn how to use, but any good repair facility that works on primarily BMWs, right? Because every brand has their own. They do Volkswagen and
Audi.
Volkswagen and Audi is ETKA. I know Porsche is
I think
PCISS. I actually tried to sign up for the Porsche program and they just never got back to me.
Yeah,
but
everyone
so
has their own software.
if you're a repair facility and you work on these cars like we do with the BMWs and you're not using Air or ETK, like a paid subscription, you're really not a good repair facility.
no.
You know, using that Snap-on or Pro Demand, it's trash. It's absolute junk.
It is.
And you know, most folks don't know what they do is they just regurgitate that information. They take it. They're licensed, contracted to take it, but some of that information is excluded.
A lot of
So-
shops use also real OEM. Yeah.
with the 7 different brake options.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah.
4 different control arms.
That's
But
a
I
lot of
think
calls we
real
get.
OEM, they don't have anything after 2019. BMW
Yeah.
issued a cease and desist.
Oh.
They haven't
Yeah,
updated
they,
it.
they shut them down technically, so it only works for up to 2019.
I think it's at like
So
half
like
the catalog.
somebody will
too.
call with a part number, be like, "Hey, I have this part number. I need this, but I need it for this VIN." You know what I mean?
That
Because
makes-
they wouldn't give him the option breakdown.
I know.
Yeah, so it's like
we used to back in the day, before we started using Air or Ista, we were using real OEM. And I would get so frustrated because I was like, it's giving me 4 different options for brakes or like whatever it may be. And I would yell at him and I was like, we just need to pay for a subscription finally.
have you guys heard of CCC
Body shops,
body shops?
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if they have mechanical stuff on there. I would assume they do, but that's pretty spot on when you use CCC.
Yeah, I think
For
that's
body guys and-
that's the estimator program that will
Yeah.
tell you 1.2 hours of labor to pull the
It'll
fender
tell
or
you labor
whatever.
times. It'll give you part
Yeah.
numbers, everything. It's more of a program for body shops, insurance to the parts. You know what I mean? Like,
So it's like
It all
more
ties in.
direct with you.
yeah. And it's easier.
So you use ETK primarily, right? Or do you?
yeah, primarily, yeah.
So have you ever played around with the stuff in relation to like labor times or FRUs?
No.
None of that stuff.
That's strictly service. Yeah, I
That's
stay away
above
from
his
that. I'm like, hold please, transfer.
Above his pay grade.
Yeah. We don't mess with labor times or anything.
Well, it's not really your job either.
So
Right, because that's the
I
other
can
thing.
understand if
is
you're working
like-
the parts counter in service. You know what I mean? Like some
right.
some
Oh,
shops
that's not
have
a bad idea. Yeah.
like some shops like I know a Mercedes dealer by us, they have a parts counter in service.
Mm.
And the guys from service will go up to the parts counter and ask them to do the quote for them instead of them doing it themselves.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's different than what you guys obviously have.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that I know of from
Yeah, no.
being
Service
it.
guys do their service stuff. Parts guys do their parts
Yeah.
stuff. Everybody.
but you're not on the you're not on the front end retail side, right? You don't deal with.
I dabble a little bit of both. Primarily, I'm wholesale, but when we have to pitch in, we pitch in. You know, we do
well
depending on schedules. Yeah, like
Saturdays I think you
Saturdays
guys do both,
primarily
right?
is retail, but you still phone
So
calls.
who covers the shop, like the actual service facility?
During the week, there's dedicated guys for the shop. On weekends, there's the two guys that we do everything.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah.
So-
weekdays is primary guys just for shop.
2006, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
2 decades later.
Wow, that's a long time at the same dealer.
Drafted out of high school.
Same dealer too, right?
Yeah.
You haven't changed. Yeah, wow.
They should give you like a keychain or something.
I know, right?
Right.
Best
That's a long
employee,
time.
best employee.
So, have you noticed since 2006, has any of the software changed drastically or?
Well, yeah. Air is new, obviously. Never had that back in the day. ETK was a downloadable disc back in the days.
No, he's right. That's how the Russians
know, I know. It's
they
just so
they
funny to,
copy
like,
it and
think about it
they
that way.
put it up on eBay and you can
Like,
spend
hey,
50
man, I got
bucks.
this new car. I'm like, hey, man, I'm waiting for the CD. Can't help you out.
Pause. It's still loading.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I mean, although it's annoying and you have to adapt, it is better once you get to know the system.
Uh-huh.
And, you fly right through it. Like I said, it's repetitive stuff. You know where everything is. It's repetitive. And
Do you feel like there's a lot of guys or girls, I don't even know, because I don't think I've ever seen a female parts advisor with you guys.
Oh man, I've never actually
no.
ever in my 18 years of doing this seen a female. I mean, I've seen a female cashier. I've
No, I've
never
seen a female
or a female that came out and said, "Hold on, let me get someone for you." But I've never
I've
seen a
never-
female parts girl.
Yeah, I've never met
Yeah,
them.
no, I
I've spoken to them on the phone through like other dealers. But I've never physically met them. But I would say since majority of the people you work with are guys,
Yeah,
what
it's
is
all guys.
like the average? Do you see that people are there for long periods of time, like who are working, or is it like a quicker rotation of people that come in and move around?
Back in the days, I would say, like, my time, late 2000s, it was more of a career move for sure. But nowadays, with, all these youngsters and everything, it's more of a collect a check and, like, oh, I'm just here for whatever, do my 8 hours.
Well, that's I think the biggest problem this industry has.
Yeah.
And
And that's no help on shop ends. You know what I mean? You want to get a guy that's knowledgeable there to, like, hey, man, I can't find this bolt, but give me a few minutes, I'll find it for you. You know what I mean? Where the next guy will be, oh, I don't know.
I don't care.
Good luck.
Yeah. You're SOL.
That's the difference. Yeah, basically.
That's shitty.
so what would you say the biggest change has been, right? And I guess let's try to keep it related to what you just brought up, right? Like, I mean, where I come from and when I came from, that time period, when you chose a path in life, right? Now, this is a bigger societal problem. you would dedicate your time to it, right? So whether you wanted to do law enforcement or work at a dealer as a service technician or a parts counter guy, you would make the effort, right, to actually go learn something that you may not know, whether it's spending an extra 10 minutes at work playing with the computer software or working on a car to figure out something you've never done before, and you may not get paid for that, right? So
Right.
what's the biggest difference you've seen '06 to now in relation to, the industry and its employees?
I mean, it may sound cheesy, but primarily it's how you've been raised. I mean,
Facts.
how my dad,
You're 100% right.
yeah, how my pops raised me. It was like, yo, man, you doing something, you follow through with it,
Yeah.
you commit to
Don't
it.
half-ass it.
Yeah, and if
I think that's our generation, though.
and even he told me that, like, obviously, like I said, he worked there, and he got me there, and then he was like, hey, if you want to learn, that's how I learned the parts counter too. You wanted to learn, stay an hour or so after work, learn it, questions, you know what I mean? It's free. Nobody's
Education's
gonna,
always
yeah,
free,
exactly,
like when you're
yeah.
trying to learn something. Yeah.
That's how I came up. Nowadays, like I said, these guys like,
They don't wanna do jack
like,
shit.
what? I gotta stay here for free? Nah, I'm out.
I'm not going to get paid for this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it rattles down to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we say the
That's-
same thing.
I think it's also our generation. Like, our generation just knows that we have to work for what we want.
Yeah,
And you have to put in the time.
these new
Like-
generations, it's like their first question is, "What's the hourly rate? Mm-hmm. Like,
How much
that's
are getting
it.
paid?
They have no idea what they're doing.
What's my salary? What's
Yeah,
my hourly
yeah.
rate?
And I tell people, hey, man, like, I don't care what I do. Like, you know what I mean?
If you like what you do or you love what you do,
Right.
like, it's not really a job at the end of the day. It's I wouldn't say it's a passion, but it's more of like your hobby,
Yeah.
Like, it's something you like doing, you want to continue doing it, and people nowadays are not looking at it that way. They're just, like you said, they're looking at it as a paycheck.
Or even simple as job duties. Like, it could be dead one day, and like, the boss says, hey, go clean the toilet. I'm like, all right, I'll clean the toilet. And then the next person will be like, oh, that's not my job.
I'm not a
here for
janitor."
that. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
It just makes it
those
difficult for
those are the
everybody else.
habits, right? That it's hard to explain. I mean, I call it the bitch work and the grunt work, but it instills the habits that will make you good at whatever you do, right? And it doesn't matter if you're a service tech or a parts technician. When you get into the swing of things and you look back at wow, I had to do that, and that, it just makes you a better all-around person. And then as a result, as a byproduct, you become a better employee,
Yeah.
right? And you become better at what you're doing on a daily basis.
And without knowing, something so stupid could be an experience. You know what I mean? That you don't know of.
Oh,
like-
this generation doesn't understand that, all the failures they're just lessons, right? And that's how you succeed, is just jumping from one failure to another, and you learn, right? That's the whole process is learning.
I
But
also want instant gratification.
Right, yeah.
Gotta have it want to now.
I'm like, hey, man, I did this.
Okay, you
want
wanna
me
pat
good
on the
job?
back?
Yeah, exactly.
You want a high five? Like,
All
cool.
right, dude. Like, move to the next one. Shit. Like,
I agree. I think it's definitely a generational thing, like you said, and how our parents instilled in us, like, this is something you want to do, you gotta follow it through.
most definitely, yeah.
so what have you noticed in relation to, and we'll get to a very specific time period, but 2006 to now, right? So what is that? That's 18 years, 19 years,
Almost 20 years.
almost 20 years. That's almost 2 decades. What have you seen in relation to supply chain and demand and
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, that sucks.
Especially from 2019.
Yeah.
well, hold on. Let's not get to COVID yet. And this is generalized, for now, let's keep it generalized. But like, you think BMW, right? And it's like, all right, and it's not personal, right? I'm not mad at you. But as a consumer, if you're going to drop 6 figures on a vehicle, right? You would expect or anticipate a majority of those parts to be available.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And that's not the case, obviously. I would say more back in the days, like you had asked, because how they did it back then, E46, for instance, you have those LCI taillights for a 330 down to an M3. You know what I mean? You can swap, dangle, do whatever you got to do. Nowadays, it's like, what option you have? What color do you have? Does your
many
seatbelt
things,
John goes
yeah.
off? Or like, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Well, I think that's part of the marketing. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like, for example,
yeah, that's-
like the G80, right? We, our G80, when everyone hears what we paid for it, they go, how? We're not retarded. I don't need to spend 30 grand on a carbon fiber M3 competition badge when it's the same damn engine. Right? You know,
Exactly.
there's just no point. But have you seen it get better, or has it gotten worse since you started in 2006?
As far as supply,
Yep.
worse because of obviously COVID.
But up until like before COVID hit, right? Do you think it was like pretty level? Was it
No,
better?
it was level. Supplies was there. It's on demand. You ordered anything, I tell you with a straight face, hey, yeah, you're getting it in 2 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's like
50-50 chance.
yeah, 50-50, right? When I tell you, I'm like, she's like, hey, can I see this tomorrow?
And then I'm like, okay, is it a 50-50 chance? And he goes, yep. I'm like, okay.
It's 50-50 because you
So-
never know. It could be facility
stupidest
issue,
thing.
stock issue,
Yeah.
the truck driver broke down, the guy doesn't want to work, the truck driver.
I was literally just about to say that. They don't feel like working today.
It's crazy. Like there's been instances where our parts delivery, the truck that brings our parts, like they're unionized, so they're like, I don't do that. You know what I mean? And
Strike.
it's like, all right, what the
Yeah.
fuck are we supposed to do? You know what I mean? And that makes shit.
So
hard.
let's go right to COVID then.
COVID. Oh,
What happened?
That
Well, you guys were off for a
everybody
while.
shut down. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody closed. So that was good. I was in Florida.
Wait, so hold on. I thought, well, at least in Jersey, COVID was deemed automotive repair facilities were deemed a essential business, right? It wasn't a non-essential business. So were dealers closed? Was your dealer closed during COVID?
At first, all dealers closed until
think
they
when it
deemed
was-
it essential.
Yeah, I think at
Because,
first when it was unknown.
Doctors got to drive their Beamers and Benzes, So we opened and we had a skeleton schedule, we call it, that we all flopped. We were 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And, we
Oh, so
worked-
no one would get COVID type thing.
Right,
Gotcha.
right, 6-foot rule. But then it made it hard because I don't know how to say it. So the building was closed, the actual building, but we were operational inside. So it made it hard because people were coming to buy parts, inquire about parts. You had to go inside, outside, inside, outside.
But no one was allowed to come
Nobody
in.
was allowed
so
to
they would
come
have to wait
in.
outside.
Correct.
Got
It was
it.
only employees.
And what about the shipments from Germany?
You
I
have
was
to
like,
pray for those.
Months.
We was lucky to get regular shipments. That's 2 days. We probably get them in like 4 or 5 days.
What about the warehouses? I won't say the exact name, but the warehouses that you guys get the parts from, right? When you started in 06 and you had an issue, were you able to physically call someone, been like, hey, where is my part? What's going on? Was there an email, text message, anything?
Yes, there still is all of that good stuff, but back then was more, like you said, hardworking people. It was more hands-on back then.
Yeah.
Where nowadays everything's automated. So even if you do get somebody on the phone, they'll tell you straight in your face, submit a ticket, hang up on you.
Basically, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
and hang up.
basically. Yeah. So
What?
yeah, 100%.
Nobody wants to work.
And then
Nobody wants
when
to
you
work.
put in these tickets, they take days to answer, and then you got shops
Yeah, I remember you told
calling
me that
you.
once.
Yeah, and
Because I asked you about something. You're like, I submitted a ticket, but I haven't heard anything back.
it's
I'm
legit.
like,
When I say I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The craziest thing I've heard is not just you guys, right? Sometimes it's so
here.
Audi calls it a red ticket.
Oh, okay.
It's like overnight express from Germany. You get a tracking number, but there's no guaranteed, not a procurement date. There's no shipment date that they can guarantee, right? It could leave January 19th or it can leave January 29th. But when it does leave, it'll get sent with the expedited shipping you paid for. We don't know when it's going to come, though. In relation to, we don't know when it's going to leave Germany.
So
And
it's
then
never rushed out the
However
door.
long customs has it too.
You guys don't have like express clear at customs? What do you call it? Pre-check? You guys got pre-check at customs?
Oh my goodness. Excuse him.
That's extra.
That's extra.
That's extra. We don't have that subscription.
Wow.
$1 million.
Yeah.
So
That was a dumb question.
it was better. No, it's a serious. It's a serious question, at least.
I'd never heard of it. But,
Yeah.
Check.
but hey, you never know. That probably is something. That's a good idea. You should look into that.
It's not humans. It's package. Ay, Dios mío. It's
At least
not-
it's a big industry.
I know that.
This is
but,
a big, big
the way
industry.
You just said it was just. Anyway, continue.
So, what would you say? I'm trying to say this without disclosing too much, but Would you say things have gotten better than COVID or
Since COVID,
since COVID? Better or worse?
It's a 50-50 chance.
I would say it did get better. Did it go back to normal? No.
I don't think anything really has, though. Not a lot.
Life's been normal for us.
I meant like within like the industry and businesses in general. Like there's a lot of things that haven't gone back to like what normal
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
But
'cause there's-
really what was normal, you know what I mean?
There's even some like body panels, especially. I know you guys are not a body shop, but body panels in particular, even across the board, all makes and models. They, quarter panels could take a month, if so that, yeah. And then this whole thing with everybody going green, it takes a toll too, because say you order a big body piece, they're not gonna just send that one piece. They're gonna wait till they get a truckload full, and then send everything out to reduce emissions and all that good stuff. So when like shops call for quarter panels or anything body related, well, big structural body, yeah, we tell them, hey man, you're looking at, even though the warehouse shows it, they could have 10 or 15.
Still.
We're like, hey man, 2 weeks. Because you don't know.
So that's like getting
you don't
something
want
from
to tell them
Germany at
3
that
days.
point.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You don't want to tell them 3 days and then they're down your throat every other day.
Yeah.
Hey, where's this at? Where's this at? And
It's better not to promise
a bunch
something.
of item knows lately.
50-50.
Yeah,
It's
50-50.
my favorite one.
There's a lot of that going around.
With all the new EVs, or at least for BMW, I know I don't like electric cars.
I mean,
I don't
neither
either.
do
i4,
I don't
i4,
either.
and then the G60, the XM. Do you guys keep a lot of those electric?
Surprisingly, the XMs and the i7s are doing good. They are moving. The i4s, not so much. Because, like you said, I mean, look at Tesla, look at GMC. Nothing's moving. Nothing EV. I'm on the same page as you. I hate electric. I told her, I was like, hey, if we was to ever think, it would have to be like a hybrid at least.
Even that's even.
Yeah, I know. Even that's reaching, but I could never do EV.
So if a shop called you and needed an entire battery for an XM,
Oh, I think that would be dealer only.
Yeah, but what do you do? With
I
that?
couldn't order a battery for an XM.
No, you.
So
would have,
we would have to send them to the dealer, and then the
correct.
dealer.
Yeah, because you would have to
Why?
be certified to work on high voltage.
Interesting.
Yeah, even with these
I would-
new, because most of these iCars, even to the i8, they're the carbon core structure. So if one of those get damaged or anything, not any facility could do that. BMW is now putting out specific shops that you'd have to go to school for to learn and to be authorized to order and repair. It's not like you can, if you're an authorized dealer, you can't order it and then Joe
kinda-
Schmo
I
buys
think-
it from you.
I think Tesla was like that for a while. Like only you could bring your
think
car
so.
to Tesla to get like maintained or fixed or whatever it may be.
Rivian's
but now
like
there's
that too, I think.
yeah, now there's like certain certified dealers for Tesla that you could go to get X, Y, and Z done.
Right, right.
But-
Yeah, they're doing that with BMW now too.
Damn, that's crazy. So you
For
can't even
structural
order-
stuff. It's mostly structural stuff. But
God forbid you need a battery for an electric car. You can't even order a battery. Well, we can't order
Well,
a battery.
it's not the battery you're thinking of.
I know.
It's a massive
I know.
Yeah,
I'm saying in
2,000
Yeah,
pound.
it's
You know,
the whole
you-
undercarriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need a special lift table just to get it
I'm
down
just
and
making a
up. But
statement. That's all I'm
I guess my question is, and I don't know, so I'm not going to claim I do know, and then possibly misstate something. But in most states, the customer has the right to repair their vehicle, right? So that's kind of weird. So what about retail, right? If I owned an XM and I come to the dealer as the owner of the vehicle,
Oh, I'll sell you a battery.
But-
You're gonna pay
Yeah.
50 grand or whatever it is.
But
half the price
so
of the car.
exactly.
is it like a key though, where you need to see the registration and the?
No, we would always ask for VIN. We would always ask for VIN on anything. It could be a screw.
No. I'm saying like when we want to do a key, we need photo ID and registration. We got to give the dealer a copy of both of those in order to order a brand new key,
Right.
right?
He's saying, is there anything required in order to do the battery?
For
Or
battery, no, a battery's battery.
no,
happens
like
is-
like for the XM.
Right, yeah, no.
So you could sell me an XM battery.
I
well,
could.
if you were the customer going to the dealer, yes, you could just get a battery from the dealer as the customer.
as the customer, right.
Not like a wholesale
No, he just said
repair
that.
facility.
No.
Wow.
Which brings me on to the next topic about the key situation of dealers selling keys and getting registrations from people and licenses.
So, wait, hold on. I have to use the bathroom.
Oh, God.
This is the best part about the podcast. I get to get up. Anyone can whenever they want. I'm going to pass it off to you two.
I don't know the entire story. You know the story better than I do, but yes, I will start talking about it.
Till I come back from the bathroom because I have so many questions for this man.
Okay, so I won't talk about it. I'll wait until you get back. Go to the potty.
Speaking about bathrooms, we could talk about bathrooms till he comes back.
Oh, my God.
Shop bathrooms.
Oh!
No, I like that you guys have the faucet control.
What do you mean?
Like, you can turn it to hot or cold or leave it on. Like, most shops, I mean, our shop is and a few other shops are, you have the sensor.
Oh, yeah, no.
And then you either have grease on your hand or
No. We have two.
dust or whatever.
I don't know if
you're there like.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw. We have two sinks. We have one in the bathroom and then the shop sink, right? So the shop sink has the adjustment too, but it's the two nozzles on the side, so you either do cold or hot.
Oh yeah.
But there's nothing.
Oh, it's just
No
cold.
sensors. No. I'm saying there's no sensor. Like you literally just.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like the shop bathroom, it has the sensor, but it's like ice cold
It's
water.
they're always cold. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
I like it.
But
Hot
you
water,
brought
I
up
prefer hot water,
yeah.
but,
You brought up something. I feel like most repair facilities or shops have the nastiest bathrooms.
No, I mean.
I've only seen nasty bathrooms in shops, so I don't know. I'm not talking about like the dealer side. I'm talking about like shops,
In
like
shops, right? Yeah,
individual like private shops have nasty bathrooms, and I'm like, how do you go to the bathroom? Aren't you creeped out?
Well,
like,
there's.
I'm not a princess or like Miss Goody Two Shoe, but like you need a clean toilet.
Yeah, so there are shop bathrooms that are, say, designated for the technicians. Then there's our bathroom / locker room. We mostly go to that one, and it's a small group of us, so it stays clean. There is a cleaning crew, that.
Yeah, I've
there's
seen
a
the
maintenance
cleaning crew.
They keep
every
it tidy, but
one time.
we don't obviously make a mess out of it. Where you go to the technician's bathroom,
I can only imagine.
you see Gojo on the walls and everything. And like,
the worst is we have it's called Cherry Bomb, which is basically the same thing as Gojo. It's like this like scrub to take off all the grease, and the scrub gets everywhere besides the sink, and I'm just like, how do you guys miss?
Yeah.
How do you
I know.
miss?
And then I'm like, damn, man, I can't even imagine how you bathe, man. You just, like half of their shit is all over the sink.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Here the guys use gloves. Even I use gloves when I have to help them out. But a lot of people don't use gloves when they work.
Yeah, well.
I get it. Some people
the new thing now is, I'm allergic to latex. Oh, I don't like the powder. Or, I like orange gloves. I don't like black gloves. Yo, I'm like, dude, fucking gloves.
This young generation of people. Yeah, we use gloves here. Matthew is 100% one of those people. Ever since I've known him,
He's a glover.
always worn a glove to work.
Well, I'm back, and to answer your question about the gloves, I don't know what I missed, but the reason why I always have to wear gloves is because I don't have, at least when I started, I didn't have anyone to be able to answer the phone, answer emails, sign for something, so it was easier,
Yeah.
I'm taking in orders, ordering parts, emailing people back, answering the phone, touching cars, pulling in cars, like nice cars, so I couldn't just not use gloves, and I got into the habit of just having my hands clean.
We were just talking about gloves in general, and some people are just complaining about it, but we were also talking about bathrooms and how dirty the bathrooms can be at certain shops and whatnot, but
This is weird because it's the second time we've been complimented on the bathroom.
yeah.
Oh, well.
Everyone comes into our bathroom and they're like, you guys have such a clean bathroom. And we're like, what did you expect? I'm sorry.
I don't want to see your house bathroom.
Right? I know. It's alarming when people say that, right?
Ryan just said, he's like, I'm just curious how, like, people who use, like, how we have Cherry Bomb, people use Gojo or whatever it's called. He's like, the Gojo
Same
goes
shit.
everywhere. I know, but the Gojo goes everywhere. And he goes, I'm just confused as how they shower. Like, do they clean themselves properly? Because the Gojo goes everywhere.
So
It's a weird question.
Let's talk this key stuff.
Keys.
We got a generational problem with these stolen cars, right?
Oh, that's all you have to say.
Listen, I respect the hustle, right? And for the record, anyone wants to
not a
come
good
here,
hustle, though.
anyone wants to come here and take the G80, I don't care.
Please
Take
don't.
it. I want the 2025 LCI new headlights. Call the insurance company. Cash
Don't
me out.
support it, okay?
Number
Don't
one.
support it.
My $10,000 MacBook's in there. My Hermes bag is in there. Everything's in there, right? You got insurance. That's why we have insurance.
Yeah.
Right? I'm really not going to be mad if the car gets stolen. But, like, you know, we're roughly the same age, so I'm so old. 20 years ago, right? Let's pretend we're in 2003. Some Gone in 60 Seconds type of shit where Nicolas Cage and his crew, that's how you steal a car. Now what they're doing, and for those of you at home watching that don't know this, and Elise is guilty of this, I tell her every single day, why the fuck is your walkaway that unlocks and locks the vehicle on? So basically,
it's
convenient, but so you walk away, you lock your BMW by simply walking away from the car. So
not all the time.
It's
Also,
a feature.
It's not all the time. I use the key when I am out and about. Most of the time, I use the key to lock the car. I don't let it, like, if I'm in the parking lot of someplace, I lock it by myself. Or I use comfort access, whatever it is.
So there's a feature on the car that will communicate with the key.
Oh.
And when you walk a certain distance away from the car, the vehicle will lock. And when you come up close to the car with the key in your pocket or your wallet, pocketbook, the car will unlock. The issue with that is, and I don't have a key here to show you, that key is going to transmit a signal over to your car. And what they are doing is, in this area, the tri-state area, there is a...
Intercepting that trend.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a nice word for these guys because I wouldn't call them criminals. They're more like retards.
That's an offensive
fair.
word to some people.
Well, too bad. They will roll around in those pedo vans, right? And they have an actual antenna in their van. And that antenna is meant for purposes of amplifying a RF signal. And what they will do is, once they get that code, they can replicate your key. It's doable. With the right computer software and the right physical hardware, it's possible to simply steal a car like that now, or at least a 2024 BMW, right? And that's why it's good to keep your key in a Faraday bag. Somewhat going off on a rant here.
Or
But there-
have the dollar anti-theft throttle commander.
Yes and no, because we all know what you can undo to simply just steal the car.
Still helps prevent someone from stealing my car.
Yeah, but it
Also, who's going to steal a manual car?
Yeah, that
Who's
is
gonna
kind of
steal
true
manual
too.
cars?
Half of these new jacks don't know how to drive
Real,
manual.
like half of these people in this generation don't know how to. I literally, someone came up to me, "Oh, can I drive your car?" I'm like, "Sure." Do you know how to drive manual? No. I'm like, "Okay, so then you can't drive my car." I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, but do you know where these cars are going right now that are getting
Yes,
stolen?
they go overseas. I know that.
Where?
I don't know.
West Africa.
Okay, but still, that
That's all they
requires
drive
someone.
over there.
Someone here it requires them to know how to drive manual.
Until you got a drug kingpin in Ghana that wants a manual M3.
I want the manual.
You're a dick.
Then your Puerto Rican purple G80's gone.
Listen, I'll just.
We got a 2025. New headlights.
Smelly.
Hey, I know a guy to get you a really good price on the headlights. The hood
I
fits.
know a guy too, but he won't give me a good price on the LCI steering wheel either.
Who said?
You.
Oh my.
I asked you. Flat bottom steering wheel now.
So hold on. Let's get back on track here. There was a post online last year. This was hot last summer. There was a guy. He recorded this on camera. I'm not sure if you heard of it, out in Clifton.
It was on his Ring camera.
It was on his Ring camera. And so he had the footage, posted the footage. They pulled up, let's call it a Monday night, and they just drove by, and they walked to the back of the car.
Slowly drive by too.
Well, someone got out of the car. They went to the back of the car. I think it was a G80. Went to the back of the car, a blue G80. Took a picture of the plates. And everyone's going, why would you take a picture of the plate? You know, they're going to steal the car. The next day, an X5M pulled up. Guy got out of the car. No Nicolas Cage shit. With a key. Unlocked the car and drove off with it. And now I can't say too much without giving it away, but here's where it gets interesting.
How did he replicate a key?
No, we know how. It's the dealer who allowed that without any question.
So
And we
it's
can't give that
odd
away.
because the OP dropped off. He stopped posting about it because I think the police department said you're actually hurting yourself. So and yeah, you really are when you post shit like that online. Shut the fuck up and let the cops do what they do. Evidently, this went deep to a dealer level issue where someone was either or impersonating that individual. So we're talking about high level shit here where they are photoshopping fake IDs that match a picture of the person or at least a name, and their registration. And they're walking into the dealer saying, "Hey,
I lost my key.
I got Jim Smith's ID. This is me. This is my car. I want to order a key." And it's really not their identification.
That's next level shit. Because for one, we do not accept copies. It has to be original. I have to make the copy. So if you're like, oh, I have it in my phone or I have it in the email, no.
I
the
know.
customer comes
We had a
off the
hard time with that once before. Yeah.
So if a customer comes off the street, you have to get their license and their registration to order.
Valid.
A key. Well, obviously, it can't be
Valid.
invalid.
I mean, some people be like,
So-
that's still me. Or like,
The other side to this story is it's possible there was an inside man at the dealer.
I would say 100%.
That's what I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really think that was the case? Because no one's really updated it, and there's nothing in the news or that I could find.
It's got to be. I mean, majority of parts countermen have the access to order keys. You know what I mean? It just depends on the discipline of management on you getting the right documentation. Because you can get audited as well, which I'm pretty sure dealers do annually. And they'll just pick out
Random.
they go through service, parts, and different areas. And they're like, all right, we want to see these 5 keys. We want to see these 5 invoices. We want to see this and that. And you have to show proof. And if you don't, I mean, I don't know what the repercussions are, but
Damn, I did not
we
know
have everything because it's so strict. And, we get cursed out. We get this and that.
I mean, I
Some
think
people
it's
know how to handle it. Some don't.
I think it's a
I
security
just,
feature.
my key works. You hit them with that.
Yeah.
They get more gut hurt. But
Yeah, it was kind of sketchy that when that whole situation went down, Matt told me about it, and I was like, that's not good.
yeah, that's
I see it being inside a dealer who was doing that.
I would have bet my money it's a new jack too. 100%.
Yeah, but like you said,
Everybody's looking for quick money now.
there's
Probably something
an
on the
actual
side.
trail, right? So they'll be able to go back and see who ordered that key, who was behind the desk, who put the ticket in.
Yes, 100%. So whoever submitted that VIN order, you can track that through BMW system.
Well, it's attached to your name. Well,
Right.
attached to whatever
your-
ID
your
number.
employee
Or
ID.
whatever.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
login to Sgate. Wow. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that-
I think
Damn, there's a paper trail for everything.
Yeah.
I called Mercedes for a key on a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
And these guys are good. They're our go-to guys for genuine Benz parts. They refuse to order the key. No,
The customer has to
owner
order
of
the
the vehicle needs to show up in
Really?
person to order the key, not over the
With
phone.
the old key that doesn't work, the car, license, and registration to match.
No pictures, no email, nothing. In person, owner only.
Yep.
You can come.
Yeah, we don't do none of that. Oh, I'm gonna send my mom or dad to the. No, dude, it's got to be registered owner only.
Yeah. That's what Mercedes
Either
told
that
us.
or you have to get a notified letter.
Yeah, Mercedes told us for the G-Wagon, they were like, I think it's pretty much all of their keys. They said, you have to bring us the key that stopped working.
Oh no way.
Yeah, with the car into service.
Yeah, but
And-
I'm sure if you didn't have the key and you actually were the owner and you showed up, you're good.
Well, how would you get the car to Mercedes then?
Tow it.
Yeah, but
No, I'm saying if you can prove you're the owner, though.
I don't
you
know. The way he said it, our dealer said it to us was that you had to bring the key that wasn't working with the car, license and insurance, registration to who it
I mean,
matched.
what I tell some of my customers that come in and they say, "Oh, I lost this or this got stolen or whatever," I tell them on the spot, "Well, get a temporary registration on DMV website. If it's you,
Yeah.
you can only do the temporary. You know what I mean? You can only get another copy, not anybody else. And when they do, then I'll push it through. And but other than that,
I mean, it saves your ass. You know what I mean?
yeah,
you don't,
that's what I care. I mean, hey,
I don't care about you. I care about me.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else has their own way, whether they follow the rules or not. Like you said, at the end of the day, I
You
care
have to
about
look
my
out for
job.
yourself, yeah.
I follow the rules. I get the needed paperwork. If not, go kick rocks. Yell at my manager, do what you want. I don't care. You know what I mean?
So the next thing that I want to talk about is, and again, I'm going to try to do my best to not disclose, any names or anything like that, but I'm going to assume, and maybe you will be able to give the best insight over the past 20 years now, right, at the dealer level. Have you seen, is there any sort of competition between two dealers in relations to gross sales? I'm talking strictly parts.
So I would say it does come down to the manager running the program. I would like to say the person we have is pretty spot on. I mean, anybody can have their days, you know what I mean? But he's really about it, hustle and flow. He's a go-getter, you know what I mean?
100%.
And he'll hustle it. And he embedded that in us. We have our special team, if you want to call it, because he trusts us. He knows that we'll grind just as he would.
Yeah.
And we'll go to his level. So he's comfortable with the guys he has right now, which is me and my other coworkers, and just himself. You know what I mean? Not to undercoat it. I mean, he's done it so much that even I do it now. Like, I'll text shops and they'll be like, say if their dealer is next to them, damn near next door, and they'll call because we have it in stock, and I'll just start the small talk like, hey man, so what? Why do you get it from there? Oh, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yo man, well, if I can do a little bit better, throw me 1 or 2 orders and see how you like, test us out, see how you like our service. And sometimes, for the most part, it works out and we become their primary dealer.
Well, I mean, I think your guys' reputation precedes yourself, because I've had a couple, not competitors like that, right? But they'd come in, where do you buy your parts from? Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Oh, I used to work there, or I know so-and-so. Like, those guys are great.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come in here and force you to start buying from me. But we have, and now this is not necessarily related to wholesale parts at the dealer level, but we have two competitors who will remain nameless, right? And they obviously have an online website where they sell parts. And what they are doing is they have access to a price file, an inventory sheet, some sort of API with a dealer. And to my best knowledge, you guys are not allowed to give out your username and password to anyone. There is no live feed of data, pricing, or inventory available to anyone but you. Whether it's, a dealer in the middle of Oklahoma or, in the tri-state area that's a busier dealer. So these guys have access to real-time inventory on their website. That's right? You look up a BMW windshield, and it'll say ships in 3 days. Or January 29th is the estimated time for this part to ship.
Or available at supplier.
Or available at supplier, which means Germany. Or back-ordered from Germany
or
in 3
their
weeks.
dealer of choice, whoever they use.
So I'm confused because there's a huge subset of actual dealers that dump the parts online, right? And I'm not there's one particular dealer, I won't say their name, they're in Maryland. They're really good guys, right? They actually answer the phone, answer emails. Everyone else, and there's probably 50 of them, right? So it'll be BMW of so-and-so, partsnow.com. And they take their entire catalog, put it online, and there's no support. You call, no one called you back. You get an email 3 days later, and they're selling parts for wholesale pricing to the public retail.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of online dealers that, like, they're dealers, but it doesn't say what their actual dealer name is. It'll just say, like, whoever they're doing business as. And it'll say the area of where the dealer is, but won't tell you the dealer name. Dealer? Yeah. And they're dumping them for, like, what I buy the part for. But then you have to pay, obviously, taxes and shipping on it.
Well, hold on. These guys also have a nice disclaimer on their returns page where the warranty is almost non-existent.
Yeah.
As
or like you have like 15 days to return the item.
Whether it's a wholesale relationship or a retail relationship, when you buy a part from the dealer, there is something that can be done. Wrong part, damaged, or fails in 2 weeks. The dealer will always do the right thing. But these guys make it very difficult to send parts back. So I'm just genuinely, I guess, perplexed, right? Like, would the higher ups or the powers that may be ever get involved and go, this has to stop?
I would say maybe they do that because, that's
They just have overstock of items, you think?
not overstock. They may need to say, hey, they need to up their wholesale account or they need to up their e-commerce. So they'll do that. Majority of dealers are franchise owned. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
independently
they can
owned.
just do whatever the hell they want. Where
Interesting.
yeah, certain dealers have to follow certain rules,
Yeah.
guidelines. And, you look at numbers that you have to hit certain objectives. And those are your goals. Where these dealers are trying to hit those objectives that they'll do anything to make it. You know what I mean? And some places are more supportive than others. Like for us, and for instance, we're like almost half staff from COVID. And, budget cuts, all that whatnot. And pretty much we making it work with what we got. So, yeah, we'll get, hey, we don't hear you picking up, or you get shops calling other shops for pricing. And
Why are you looking at me?
Because you like to shop around sometimes.
No, it's not shop around. It just, your customers are cheap.
No, sometimes you call one or two dealers to get a price, and I'm like, let me just reach out to Ryan. You're like, I can't wait. I need the answer now.
In all fairness,
I
I
mean, I
know
don't feel no time. That's the name of the game.
I know
anyway.
he's busy.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. And everybody does that,
And then I come in with the price, and he's like, oh, that's cheaper. I'm like, thank you.
So, do some dealers have the ability to just sell at cost, or is there some sort of contract and there's a bottom line where they just won't cross over?
I know everybody's being watched. If you sell at cost, you're definitely gonna get red flagged, and they might get looked into. As far as what they have to follow, I'm not too certain. That's more up management.
Above your pay grade.
Yeah, above my pay grade.
So what about the warranty on parts? Because I know BMW
Warranty is
2 years.
as long as I know. Yeah, we do 2 years. We try to push 1 over the counter, 2 if installed at the dealer.
So
But then it's tricky with warranty because you can't just come in. You bought
A bolt.
a water pump and you're like, hey, this water pump don't work after 5 months. Now, there's some things like batteries where we could be like, all right, man, bring back your battery. We do a little quick short test. Here's your new battery. Water pumps now it's more involved. They take it to an outside shop to get it installed. Now you have to bring the car with the defective water pump to get verified by a BMW technician that it was either installed incorrectly or it's actually a defective part.
now let's assume the part was installed incorrectly and the dealer did that diagnosis. Who's on the hook for the labor?
Customer. And that's
Really?
that's disclosed before it goes on the lift.
Do some people get mad?
Of course, because they
Why
took
do
it
they
to
wanna-
Joe Schmo.
Yeah, but why would you think about it? Do you want to pay twice for something?
No, but
whose fault is it?
yeah, I guess you're right. Wow. How have you seen the warranty claims, or not necessarily a warranty claim, but like return of defective parts or any sort of customer concern, right? So when you started in 2006, fast forward 2025, so 19 years later, has it gotten better or worse?
I would say it stays the same, kind of like a flat line. BMW is pretty good with obviously their genuine stuff. It's not a plug, but yeah, they're pretty good as far as recalls and stuff. They're on it. So I don't know if you would want to call that defective. I guess it is, but in terms of that category, it's you hardly see failures
Well, I know.
unless it is a recall, and then like if it's pre-recalled and we're like, oh man, a lot of these are failing, and then next thing you know,
It's like the
notice comes
N54
out.
fuel injectors. Remember
right,
those?
exactly.
A lot of people, I'm sure, were
Right, a lot of
to
people
warrant-
pay out of pocket for those.
and then warrantying them.
Warrantying them, yeah.
Well, you also got the actual service facility at the dealer.
Yeah.
These guys, they were ordering probably hundreds of injectors a week back in 2012, 13, 14 when they started going through all the revisions. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You know.
it was more freely back then because, like you said, those injectors, like you can order the whole stock of a warehouse. You know what I mean? And they'll just bring more from Germany.
And then
As
back
to
then-
nowadays is like, all right, buddy, we have so much amount in our warehouse. You're only limited 10 a week, and that's nationwide for dealer.
Then they used to
Really?
be cheap.
And they used to be cheap.
Now they're like
Now they're like, yeah.
$3,000-$4,000 we talked about last time. It's crazy.
I mean, I guess it helps the warehouse to supply dealers nationwide, which is cool because, you know, you don't want to put everything in one store and then all these other dealers calling like, hey, man, we got so much cars down.
So
Yeah.
do you guys ever have to be friendly with another dealer to possibly get something that
Well, mostly it's the other way around.
People got to sweet talk you guys.
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
and that's simply due to the sheer volume that you guys
Yeah,
do, right? Interesting.
But, I mean, one or two times, don't get me wrong. It's not like we never do it. But, yeah, we reached out to dealers for work or parts.
Yeah, I think you guys have reached out to another dealer for something I needed,
Yeah.
and then you guys delivered it to us.
I mean, it's also personal
Relationships. yeah.
too. Like, I'm personally close with another dealer, and we bounce back. You know, if I could get it faster from him than Germany,
Order
I'll get
from
it
him.
from him, and same vice versa. If something he needs.
So now when that happens, so you take it from that dealer, but then do you also order it and then give him back one, or you just leave
no,
it as
we
is?
just buy it.
Got it.
And we do a little markup on it.
Got
just
it.
to show profit.
It's interesting.
But then you mark it up a little bit on the customer's end, so
Yeah.
depending on the customer.
In relation to the 20 years that you've been there, right? Has the logistics been the same, right? Like the local deliveries from the warehouses, has that changed at all? Has, you know, I guess my stupid question is, has a franchise, right? So let's assume I own the dealership. So at the franchise level, I found it interesting that a franchise licensed dealer, right, like a McDonald's, you never had the ability to go to a distribution center to pick up a part.
You can't because it's unionized. So,
Wait, since 2006?
since 2006. I'm not sure about back then. Yeah. But now it is. So yeah, there's absolutely no pickups whatsoever. People say that all the time, like, "Oh, can I go where it's coming from?"
No, no motherfucker, go sit down.
Exactly.
If
But
it were
it
that
has
easy.
changed as far as basically growth and volume. I mean, you know, before back in the days, you know, cars were more simpler back then. You know what I mean? Everything was mechanical. Now you have to get things for this, for that, this thing. But they are trying to cut back now. I mean, you guys aren't body, but what BMW's doing now, they're only making one style bumper.
And you cut it.
No. So, say for instance, all right, like that Audi, it has PDC sensors, right? And if you was to order that bumper, but the car you had didn't have PDC sensors, they sell a dummy kit, a in conjunction dummy kit that you have to sell with it to fill up any holes. Cause like, you know, some cars have PMA sensors, some have PDC or not all PDC.
I know, like the F8X chassis has like where you could cut the bumper for certain things. There's one.
Oh, that's for
If it has PDC
If
and
it has PDC,
yes.
They
you have
give
to
you the
drill holes.
templates.
Yeah. But now, no, they're making everything with holes.
Yeah.
I guess that was confusing to everybody. So they was like, let's dumb it down.
Okay.
And we're like, we cut the hole for you. And you plug it up.
Stupid.
One of the craziest things I've seen in the last couple of years was cores on bumpers. I'm trying to figure out how
Dude,
that
there's
works.
cores on
how
everything.
how
Yeah,
does
I
that
feel like
work?
a starter. There's starters. There's cores.
Well, that
Starters always had a core.
always had cores. There's cores on headlights.
Huh?
There's cores on headlights.
Like the-
LED and laser headlights. There's cores.
What do they want back from the original light?
I don't know. I guess
They-
the unit itself, to try to repair it or whatever.
That's crazy. I did not foresee that
Yeah.
being a core.
And
Yeah,
it's expensive too, because like a laser light goes for about $8,000, and the core on it's about $2,000.
Huh?
Yeah, 2,000.
That's
Why do you think I said no lasers when we ordered the car?
I know. I know. That's crazy. I mean, the bumper thing to me is just confusing. Like, why do you need the old bumper back? What if it's destroyed?
Because they don't want the Chinese to, mold it and to
Copy it.
yeah. So they're like, oh, if it has a hole in it,
Let's just cut it in half. 7 different ways.
Are you guys still selling the V8s, the N63s for stupid cheap?
No.
How much are they now?
I mean, fairly cheap. Not what it was before. Like, what was it? Like $3,000-$4,000?
I think our cost was almost 33 at the lowest
I
it
think
was
they're back up like $8-9 grand. Yeah.
for an N63. Sell the car.
I haven't ordered one in a long time. Well, we haven't ordered one in a long time.
Cores on engines. That's.
I think everybody
obvious.
caught on and they're like, eh.
Nah, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's another
You
crazy.
said a V what?
Yeah, that's another crazy thing for like us. Like some shops will. Fine, it's easier for them. Whatever. Instead of repairing the problem on the engine, they will just buy a new engine from the dealer, pluck it and put it in, and then put all the ancillaries on top. And I'm like,
Put it in the back of their X5.
you're so funny.
Oh, is that what happened to us?
You're so funny. But
Wait.
it never went inside one of our cars. It was for a customer. But what I'm saying is like, why do all that? Like, why spend all that money? You might as well repair it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then on top of it, there's a core. Then you got to save the box, so the core could go inside the box.
Yeah, that's another
it's
issue.
a headache. So it's like,
Well, the thing with the N63s, it's funny you said in the trunk. You picked up one
I picked up like 3.
Yeah.
in the E53, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up like
And
3.
remember I cracked the
Yeah.
I shattered the back
Rear
glass.
windshield.
Yeah.
I made a left turn and
Yep. Good old E53.
No, sorry, we went to the hood to get that glass replacement. It was like $100. The dealer is that car's junk now.
Listen, it is what it is. We learned our lesson never to do that again. But I just think it's a waste of time.
If you do see those coming up nowadays, those N63s, it's in these little mom and pop, corner shops that's, oh, yeah, I could do it for 500. Don't worry.
500.
And then they,
Well, the bigger problem with the N63s, right, that we're going for $300 is so our E70 has it's a 2011, right? 2011, and it has the N63, one of the original ones. Yeah, I know. All the original style injectors, so N54 injectors. The truck has 138,000 miles on the chassis. The engine was replaced at the dealer by the previous owner at 100,000 miles. So the engine only has 37,000 miles on it. It was replaced because the thing was smoking, kept leaking.
Which is a valve stem seal problem. But
So they replaced the engine, put the old injectors back in, the old turbos back on. That's, typical dealer. And, I understand it because BMW paid out like $24,000, right, to cover the cost of the engine. But now it's leaking. Yeah, it's still smoking. It still consumes 1.5 quart every 2,500 miles, right? So replacing that N63 is not, it's just a Band-Aid. At a certain point, they're going to start to leak again. And so
it's just a problem.
that's crazy. Now, I know that they're rebuilt. Those cores are sent over to Switzerland, Sweden. Do you know anything about that?
I have no idea about that, yeah.
No, you just know they come from Germany, right?
Box them up and
Yeah, out the door.
Just throw a Band-Aid on.
not to sound like them, but that's not my job.
So I guess I'm going to pass it off to you, and I guess you tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you've seen that has changed the most in 20 years, where you see this industry going. Because it's I try to tell everyone, they'll call, I need a price and a part, and it's like, I don't think anyone understands how complex this industry really is.
Yeah.
And how, these are cars that people need to get to work to make money, to feed their family. So it's as important of a supply chain like medical supplies, right? It's an actual car. And everyone nowadays, especially after COVID, everyone has a BMW or a higher end German vehicle. So you tell me, what do you like? What do you not like? What have you seen change the most? What would you like to see happen?
Let's start with the cons.
Oh, what vehicles do you like, too?
Oh, vehicles? All right, we get to that later.
I mean, I know this, which I have a problem with this, but...
A few things I dislike in the industry are shops that aren't knowledgeable. Like, that really grinds my gears. And it's like, we had this little thing at work, because we can't record either. Obviously, it's illegal too, but... sometimes we leave calls on speakers just to, you hear the darnest things. And,
They're dumb. They're dumb motherfuckers.
And they make you feel dumb.
Yes, we get the same
like
thing.
you don't know what they're talking about, but they don't know what they're talking about. We had a call this week. It was one of my coworkers, and the guy literally said it like 3 times. Is the head gasket and the valve cover gasket the same?
No.
Bro.
And I was like, excuse me? Can you say that again?
Wait, was this a shop or a retail?
Yes,
A shop?
Yes.
That's horrible. Because then how are you telling the customer the problem?
Right. I was like, do you have the valve cover off or do you have the head off? I mean, then you'll need both. He's like, oh, no, I just took, the top.
What's the top?
The top. Right. Exactly.
I mean, in my understanding, the top means the valve cover.
And like,
but then some people might say the cylinder head is the top for them.
Head is the head.
Yeah, right. But some people may look at it as like the cylinder head is the top of.
I guess so, but no, he just didn't know what he's talking about, and that's so frustrating because it wastes your time. Like especially if, like me, I work in wholesale. Like you'll have one of your good shops that he's like he knows everything. He even got part numbers for you. And
Sounds like me.
He's ready to.
We should get a discount for that.
Yeah.
What, for having my part numbers ready or the VINs ready when I need
And then they're easily gonna spend body shops.
Yeah.
Not to compare, but
No,
they're ready to
more,
spend $15,000 on this crash car that they got.
Yeah.
When this guy's, he doesn't know if he needs a valve cover
$200
or a head gasket. And then the worst is when people ask for hoses. Oh my god.
What do you mean?
That's the face I make.
Coolant hoses or
I don't know. They need the hose.
vacuum hose?
No, they
that's
need the
problem.
hose on the
They
top.
don't know what the hose is, but they're trying to explain it to him.
The hose on the top on the left.
Which one?
You know that one, right?
Which one? Is it the thick one or the smaller one?
I don't know. It's rubber. Thanks. And that's what I asked him. I was like, is it a vacuum line? Does it have coolant? Does it have oil?
I would just say the hose are bad for you.
If they're down that down, I doubt they get hosed. So.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we deal with a lot of stupid shit too.
That's the frustrating part in the parts world. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you feel like you lose brain cells trying to figure out.
I mean, that's on a daily basis we deal with.
And then at the end of the day, it's just a little vent pipe. And you're like, dude, come on, man. Like, and I always tell some of the guys, I'm like, yo, dude, don't ever doubt yourself. You know it more than them. You know what I mean? I'm talking about these little shops that call in, you know what I mean? And then like they literally dumb you down, like make you second guess yourself, like, shit, what is he talking about?
You get so frustrated so quickly because they're like, no,
I'm like, no, I know what I'm talking about.
You know what I start doing when customers are trying to explain the part to me? Obviously, it's different for like you guys and us, but like I will literally get their VIN, put it into AIR, go to whatever I need to go to, and I will send them a screenshot of the picture diagram, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's number 7," and I'm like, "Okay, that's not what it's called. Like that is not the part."
We literally have a cell phone just to text. Like we all share a phone. It's a job phone, but we share this phone just for when we get in these incidents. Like, send me a picture, and then that's another whole problem in itself.
How do I send the picture?
They want this mic, but they'll send you a picture like this.
Yeah,
I need this.
Yeah, it's not a clear
what
problem.
Is that?
Yeah.
Can you zoom out? Can you describe it? Where does it go to?
We have a guy like that.
I'm kind of guilty of this, but with only one part of the vehicle, and it's mostly BMW's fault because they stopped making the repair kits for wiring harnesses, and you have to buy like the whole main engine harness or the whole PDC harness. You can't just get the repair like the socket repair kit. And sometimes I'll just throw in the towel and be like, listen, I need this part. I don't know what number diagram it is. It could be 61. It could be 41. I don't know. Find it. But yeah, for the most part, we try to make sure that we know what we're looking for before we reach out to any dealer and say, hey, here's the last 7 of the VIN. And I'll have some dealers will tell me, well, do you have the VIN? I'm like, no, don't worry about it. Like same fucking thing you use, I use. I VIN verified the part. This is what I need. But yeah, no, I mean, we don't deal with that at least as much as he does on a daily basis.
I had one guy actually call. He had an M5. It was an F10, and he was like looking for like a bunch of different gaskets, right? And he was doing a whole engine rebuild. And I said, "Give me your last 7. Okay, tell me what you need." got to the point where he was telling me something. And I'm like, I'm not comprehending what part you're talking about. I'm like, are you talking about here? Or are you talking about here? Right? And he's like, no, this one. I'm like, you're still not making sense. Right? So I said to him, what's your cell phone number? I took a screenshot of it. I sent it to him. He was like, wow, you're better than the dealer. And I was like, I'm not sure what dealer you deal with, but okay. But I'm like, it's not that difficult. Like,
It really isn't.
just there's so many different websites you can go to that are free that you don't have to pay for to look up parts. But people are just fucking lazy. That's what it comes
Not for a newer BMW.
Yeah, not for
No,
newer cars.
I'm not. I don't mean like this was in the case for F10.
I mean, to be
F5.
honest, half of these people don't have the newer BMWs.
Yeah, they're
you know,
driving
it's
older
all-
vehicles.
Yeah, because, everybody wants to be in a foreign,
Yeah.
and they reach where their hand can't reach, and they're driving out a clapped out 5 Series or a 3 Series, and then they're like complaining about, oh, dude, why is it so much? Or they're like, dude.
Well, I think a big contributor of that are the used car guys, who, they'll sell let's use a 2020 as an example, right? Because they're cheap enough now. A fully loaded X7 that retailed for probably over $100,000 back in the day.
They're like mid-30s.
And people don't understand that X7 has a very expensive air suspension setup, right? With a valve block and an air compressor and a relay and nylon. It's crazy, right? So $6,000 in parts just to refresh the suspension system to do all the bags and, the air compressor and the valve block, relay. But when they buy the car, the car's in tip-top shape. We have 4.5 stars here at Bullshit Auto Sales. So you know what? Let's run the credit and get you in your Dream X7. And then
Run the no credit.
I think a large part of that problem for you is those used car dealers. Because as much as I don't like buying a used car from a dealer, if you get it from an actual franchise BMW, the car will be in a much better shape for the most part compared to Bullshit Auto Sales.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And preventative maintenance, honestly, would save you so much.
Yeah,
There's
I touched
so
upon
many
that last
people,
podcast.
like say for instance, the ABS pump. Like, dude, do your brake flushes. It'll save you
Your
a pump.
oil changes.
Yeah, they're like, nah,
I literally-
$200. Nah, I don't want to do that.
I literally
Next thing you know, all right, bro, you need a pump, $6,000. What?
I literally brought up this topic at the last podcast Matt and I did, and I was talking about how a lot of these M54, M55, S55 guys don't do the preventative maintenance, and then they get mad that they have to spend all this money, and it's like, well, if you stop spending the money on all these modifications that you want to do to the car, do the bare minimum of oil changes, your tires, your flushes, you won't have an issue, and then you can worry about all the other stuff later. No, but they want to look cool. They want to be like hot shit, and it's just like that doesn't work out for you, buddy.
That's the second thing that we all hate, not just me. The retrofit guys.
Who want to put the
No,
M3
no,
bumper
no,
on
no,
the
no, no, no.
335?
Don't get me started. You're going to make me go to the bathroom right now. No, I mean, I do got to go again, but no.
Retrofit
So
guys.
Yeah, no.
so check this out. There's apparently G20 M340. You can retrofit the entire coolant package. Yeah.
News to you.
Oil coolers, the satellite auxiliary radiator, the whole nine. It can be done. And they'll be like, what do I need? And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Really? Like, this is not fun.
Yeah.
No.
It's
like a whole
we had a dude 2 days ago. He has a G80, non-comp or a comp. Well, it doesn't matter.
Same
He
shit.
wanted carbon bucket seats. Obviously, he didn't order the car with carbon bucket seats, or he didn't buy it from wherever he got it from. $30,000.
Has anyone ever bought carbon buckets from you guys?
Option? Yeah, like factory built? Yeah.
No, I'm talking
no,
like
like by
after the
itself,
fact
yeah.
parts.
Oh, no. Hell no. Hell no.
Really?
A lot of
Yeah.
we know a lot of people who sell bucket seats. I'm sure you know of them too, which they won't be named, but the price tag on them, it doesn't make sense. To me, the feature doesn't make sense, especially if you are going to build your vehicle at the end of the day. Yes, granted, you're going to keep one of the seats in. You're not going to keep both seats in.
And then I hate when they're like, oh, how come? Like, they don't understand the logistics. Like, you have to change everything from the seat rail. Even the seat rail is different.
Yeah.
And even the carbon backs alone are like $7,000 each. And they're like, the famous, I'll let you know. I'll get back to you.
Okay. We'll talk.
What about LCI headlights for a G80? Has anyone bought them and retrofitted them into a non-LCI?
Honestly, we don't entertain that. We just say off the rip can be done. Because then you're talking about we tell this. I even tell this to my boss. We do that.
Well, I mean, on your end, it sucks
control modules
because
involved.
if,
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
if it doesn't work though,
reliable,
you got to take it back.
Right, exactly.
Huh.
So we're like, no, can't be done.
Interesting.
Well, that was like you asking me about the CSL, the yellow DRLs for the CSL.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I don't know if that'll work. Like, I know we could buy modules and then put them in, but I don't know from the
Right,
dealer
from the
level
dealer, what
you
I
would
don't know.
do. And then you can't buy the module separately on a CSL. You have to buy the whole.
Unit.
Sorry, you can't buy the board separately. You have to buy the whole module
Yeah.
with the board inside of it, which is just.
What about the CS, the G80 M3 CS? You can't just buy the modules because those come with yellow lights.
Yeah, it comes with the whole module.
Yeah,
You
the
can't buy
module, not
the
that little board that you
He
can
needed.
change.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Backtrack. He needed just the yellow DRL board. He didn't need the module. The module was fine. He just needed the board, and I said, "Yeah, you can't buy them separately."
AliExpress.com.
Unless you buy them like we do.
Yeah, it's you 50 for 10.
No, those lights are bad because you guys got to sell a whole damn headlight or the whole module. We got these guys. I'm not gonna say any names. $5.99, $4.99 for 4 fucking
Yeah,
chips.
and they're buying them for like less than $100.
It's disgusting. It's really bad. Yeah, it could be more than 100. You
And
know.
you know what's
Yeah,
funny?
it's-
You're buying them, and they have a 50-50 chance of working. Knock on
Right.
wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. My DRLs both times, my yellow and my purples, have not given
And
me
then
a
it
chance.
throws a code, and where do they take it? If not to wherever they got it installed from, take it to the dealer.
Yeah, no, I've had it.
Like,
knock
oh,
on
this
wood.
is wrong. Or,
And then they're mad that they get hit with a bill to remove the bumper to get access to the headlights to take the modules
yes, diagnosis, whatever the diet
Yeah.
fee is.
Knock on wood, mine haven't given me a problem, so I'm not going to jinx it, but I've changed them twice now.
I mean, but you guys, you're well capable of handling it yourself.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean?
And I'm also not
Yeah,
rushing
but
to
we've
go.
also learned the hard way there is only one supplier
Yeah.
for DRLs in the entire aftermarket. I'm not
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about whoever BMW has for their supplier, but the aftermarket yellow, red, blue, there's only one supplier. Anyone else that's doing it is ripping off that same design and making it in a warehouse with less than stellar tools or whatever, or sweatshop these poor kids over in
The
the
one
She
that-
Delta Zoo. No, at least I'm being serious. It's a real conversation here because there was a guy, I won't say his name. He was up big on the forum saying, "Hey, I make the yellow DRLs in the United States." He got blasted.
I can only imagine.
Blasted. He wasn't making shit here. He was
Overseas.
doing what everyone else does. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was buying it from China. Like
I would say the only car that we've had with DRLs have been the F95, F96, X5M, X6M. That's the only one that we've had issues with DRLs. Time and time again, have failed. Even if we buy the whole module with it,
Really
fail.
interesting.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
well, is it really weird?
I mean, no.
Is,
it's
is
cheaply
there a
made.
reason why you can get 4 modules for $120
Yeah,
on
they're cheaply made.
AliHuhu, but you go to the dealer and it costs $800? There's a
Yeah,
reason,
they're cheaply made.
Right.
guys.
and
You know-
people really ask that question on
Yeah.
the phone.
Why is it so
Oh,
expensive?
but yeah, but I saw it online and we literally tell them,
Then go buy it there.
yeah, they're like, oh, but it's $100 online. Oh, all right, but that's a good deal. You should get
Like,
it.
Well, you know what happened is, the yellow DRLs for their $145,000 X5M, right? Oh, well, why do I got to spend so much money on genuine BMW yellow if they did exist, right? And then I said, brother, what do you want to do? You got the X5M, right? You want to impress the girls, right? Do yourself a favor, trade an X5M, go get a Camry because that's all you can afford, right?
I mean, you ain't
PPP
wrong.
money ran out.
Yeah.
It ran out, so we can't afford to spend
just
the
don't-
money that they used to
yeah.
spend on these cars. That's the actual problem.
People just don't. They're not smart.
Yeah, no.
I think if you're driving, and it's funny because people are always like, "Oh, you drive a $100,000 car." I don't. I drive a $75,000 car, right? I get it. You're rounding up to the closest
it's a close
value,
value,
but at
yeah.
the same time, I don't have carbon bucket seats. I don't have lasers. I don't have any of the other bullshit. I literally bought the car base.
Biggest regrets the lasers though.
Yeah,
Because the lasers, you get that extra corner.
They just look 10
they
times
just
better.
look nicer.
They do look nicer, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I got the car base purposely because I knew we were going to do a shit ton of modifications to it, and it wasn't going to always stay in the way we got it.
No, you got the
got the
car.
deal of a lifetime.
You got the car G80 at MSRP because I brokered that deal, but
You got that sweet spot too.
Yeah.
With the new iDrive. Remember? Because you didn't know.
Well, no, I was supposed to get
Oh,
a
wait, no,
22,
right,
and then it got pushed because the whole.
Thanks,
situation,
Putin. No, that's not funny. Seriously, but because our guy told us, he goes, "You're ordering this car on this day, the day after Russia invaded Ukraine." He's like, "You can get the car October, November, December. It could be next year. Don't
like,
call
it could
me.
be
Don't
3
text me. Don't ask me. I'll reach out to you when I have a production number."
He's like, it could be 3 months, it could be a year, and I was like, okay, it is what it is.
So we get an email saying it's going to be a 23, and hey, you owe us another $700 for the price increase, or $1,300.
It was like,
But it's
something
whatever.
stupid. I said,
It's whatever,
okay,
yeah.
take my money.
But no, you got the G80 for base because they don't make these cars like they used to.
Well,
and I'm sure,
that-
as you know, working in the parts side, let's go to E46 M3, right? That's a real M3. That is a car where it was designed, there was innovation, R&D, and if you had an E46 M3, you were different, you were special, you were exclusive.
Yeah.
Or
At least, honey, a G80 has the same taillights as a 330.
yes,
You ain't special,
I
honey.
know. I know. Thank you.
You're rocking around with the same taillights, but Ryan brought it up earlier, you know.
Oh.
This product segment now is okay, it's modular, it's cookie cut and stuff, so now we can use this same part number and we can go plug it in and just knock out
I get
5 of
it.
the cars across the same product line.
I get it.
It's more money on their end.
Let me ask you
That's
this. What do you think of these M330s and M230s? And
What the hell is an M330?
you don't get it? All these people who are badging their cars to say M.
Oh, the Dominican special.
The M lights.
No, they're
How do you
putting
call them,
literally
lights?
the M badge on the back of their
I
car,
think
wherever
they
it
call
says.
I don't know what these street terms are. I don't know.
I've literally seen so many. This one guy was driving a M328, and I looked at him,
No,
and I was like, "What?" I was driving, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
It's annoying because the ones that really do care ish, they were like, oh no, yeah, I want the M badge, but I want it to be the same size. So then yeah, because on the M's compared to their emblem, it's the letter
It's a
and
different
the fonts are
size,
different.
yeah.
And they're like, no, I want it the same. And we're like, we always hit them, and they come off rip. Oh, I got an M3, I need the M badge, or I got an X5M, I need the M badge. And then we're like,
Okay.
all right. And you're like, oh, no, that's not it. That's too big. I'm like, what are you talking about? Let me get you a VIN. 3.0. All right. Let's settle down, buddy.
Yeah, that drives me insane because I'm like, what is the purpose? Like, do you think you're cool by doing that? Like, does it make you happy?
Yeah, oh my God. Like, I brought this up at work one day. I'm like, if we could have just record calls, no video, no anything,
yeah.
It would be a hit. Just to
Why can't you record?
legal issues, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. They
Well,
had,
No, I'm
I don't
pretty sure you can get away with all
Yeah,
for
but-
quality assurance and training.
they,
Yeah,
they
but-
had
but they don't
internal
have
stuff
it.
before that we
They don't
can't
have
get
it on
away
the phone that says that this call may be monitored.
with. Yeah, we don't have that either.
He's saying record it from like a personal.
Yeah,
phone.
from my phone.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No, New Jersey is a one-party state, so I don't need to give anyone any sort of informed. Hey, by the way, I'm recording. I could just do it in this state. New York, you can't. You're right. Both it would have to be a two-party, so you would have to consent for me to record you in the state of New York. Ah, interesting.
Interesting.
I don't know. The other thing that I've noticed too, though, is as we've gotten more progressed, and obviously years go by.
Have progressed more.
All right, Mr. English teacher. The newer, like the older vehicles, for instance, like E36, E46, parts are just no longer available anymore.
S54 is a nightmare. We got an email today looking for a steering rack.
Yeah.
Genuine, back ordered. No OEM, nothing available.
A lot of parts I know, like when I ask you for stuff, and I've seen online because I usually research before I ask you, no longer available, back ordered.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's suppliers. I mean, it could be stuff, it could be with whatever's going on over there. You know what I mean? But that's how it is now. I guess they're more fixated on the newer stuff. I mean, there have been talks of like they want to keep a supply of older parts for the classic owners
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But as far as availability, yeah, it's really low.
Yeah,
or
we've been-
non-existent.
We've been seeing that a lot lately. That things are just no longer made, no longer.
So
available.
the only thing I have left to talk about is I want to hear the positives of your experience as the dealer, and I also want to, after that, the last thing I want to talk about is going to be carbon fiber parts. Yeah, but
Well,
first,
before you get to the carbon,
Hold
I
on.
also have a question too.
okay, can you wait till I go to the bathroom one more time?
Sure. I
Cool.
mean, I could ask him while you're in the bathroom. It has nothing to do with you.
All right, fine, whatever.
Since you've been in the industry for almost 20 years now, and you've seen obviously the cars evolve, what would you say has been your favorite platform? I think I know the answer to this, and I think we have a big disagreement on this. It could be old, it could be new, it could be whatever.
Favorite platform as in what? Drivability
All.
or just all around?
All around.
I don't know.
I know. I feel like I know the answer to this, but I want to see what your answer is.
It would have to be the F80
How did I know?
because I don't know. I feel like it's a mean ass looking car, you know. And I mean, obviously, yeah, it has drivetrain issues, but
Has a lot of
you
issues.
can fix that. You know what I mean?
And like I said, so like our previous podcast, which will be, I think it's if it hasn't been uploaded already, it will be getting uploaded. We talked about N54, N55, S55, and I went on a tangent about all three, but I was like the S55 in particular is just the biggest problem child engine that they made. Think about it. You buy a brand new F80, F82.
Besides the hub, I mean,
Right, but
well, it also didn't help that all these people beat the shit out of the
Right.
car from the get.
they're
You
also
know what I
young
mean?
kids.
One of my close friends, he had a F80
Yeah.
and he never had an issue.
Well, I think he babied it for a little while.
Well,
and
yeah,
he started,
of course, yeah. He's
beating
not
the
one of
crap out of
he's
it.
not out there doing what
he
do you call
also-
them, takeovers.
Yeah, but he also did the right thing where he eventually rebuilt from the bottom up.
Oh, not that friend. Another friend.
Oh, okay, never mind then. So I don't know, but that friend, he did the right thing.
Yeah,
he
yeah. Oh,
he
yeah.
rebuilt from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Which was
Oh,
a
that
smart
thing's
decision.
bulletproof
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But I think, in my opinion, you're buying a car. Let's say what did F80, F82, F83, F87 go for when it first came out?
80.
You're buying a car that's that expensive, and then you have to right off the rip spend $4,000 to $5,000 on a crank hub.
Well, I would say no. I think the pre-LCIs were cheaper. I think they were high.
Like 2016s,
16s,
2017s, yeah.
15s, 16s. They were, if I'm not, maybe 70s.
Still
It's still up
high,
there. Yeah,
high
I mean,
up there.
I don't
but,
got it.
but to spend, let's say you're spending $75,000. Let's call it $75,000 on a car, on a vehicle, right? And then right off the rip, you decide you're going to modify it in any sort of capacity. The fact that you have to spend $4,000 to $5,000 just to reinforce the crank hub is
I know, yeah, it's
insane to
mind-boggling.
me.
Yeah, it is, it is. I mean, you can argue with that too with the E46 with the subframes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The SMG trans and stuff like that.
well, that was
Oh, Vanos,
Yeah,
the
that's
bottom
all,
end,
yeah.
rod
The
bearings.
E60 M5. You know, you could get those things for like 10 grand now. Nobody's touching them.
yeah. Not many people. The M5, M6 is that body style. They're not. You don't see them that often
Yeah,
anymore.
because they can't afford the parts. That's all.
Well, it's like the 9X M3s. No one's really like
Yeah,
you see them and
nobody's
they're garage kept now.
Yeah.
Not many people are driving them around anymore like they used to,
No, because everybody's scared to do rod bearings.
and throttle actuators. But yeah, so he said the F80, which I knew is his favorite platform.
I thought you said M2.
That's the same platform.
Well, same platform. And to comp.
If you had to pick.
I would still say M3. I'm big on
Four-door.
four-door
Yeah.
sports cars. I'll take
No, I was a big fan of the E92s, and then when the F82 came out, I was like, no. And then the G80 is just the sedan's just the wide hips in the back.
Yeah,
it just looks
I
10 times better.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, the G80 looks way better than G82.
So my question to you is,
really like
so you go F80, right?
Yeah.
You gonna go with stupid crazy power, or are you just gonna enjoy the car for what it is?
Enjoy the car what it is.
Then
Like I said, it has the body lines, the aggressiveness. I mean, yeah, you could do your little twerk stuff here. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
the exhaust intake.
Yeah, the basic stuff, the starter package, you know.
Stage one.
So I guess the
Stage
good
one.
news is, if you really
verbal.
you
No
treat the car right and you don't do too crazy with the torque, you should be okay with the crank hub.
Yeah, that's
In
what I'm saying.
theory,
I
in
totally
theory.
One of my best friends, he got it when it first came out. He had a comp manual, and never had an issue. And you know, he beat on it. I drove it a couple times. Never had an issue for as long as he had the car.
Listen, to each their own. I just think it feels so cheap, and it's just.
Oh man.
It just makes me feel like we were talking about this in the last podcast too. Just the M2 made me feel like I was in a little go kart.
I mean,
I think that was the whole point, though.
No, but like they're just it doesn't make me feel like secure in it at all.
That's
feel
a
like I'm gonna roll
that's
in
a you problem.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that in the G80 though. I feel secure in the G80. Maybe because it's bigger.
How do you feel that you got the same taillights as the 330?
I mean, okay.
No hablo.
No hobble. We know. You see what I deal with?
No, I'm just looking at this strictly from like a logical standpoint,
know,
right?
I
Like
know
no
what you're
emotions,
saying.
no opinions. You know, the G80's fast and that's it.
I get
You
you.
know, it's fucking fast, but I'll go so far as to say it has less of a soul than an F80 does.
I just
If you look at the natural evolution, right? So
don't
we
like
got
that switch.
we got E30, E36, E46, E9X, and then you have the F80, and then you have the
well, F8X.
F8X, and then you have the G8X chassis. So, you know, if you look at that natural evolution of, you know, the S14 in the original E30, and then you had the
S50, S52.
S50, S52 in the E36, and then you had the S54 in the S54, and
No, the S54 and the S54. The S54 in the E46.
you're right. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. So
And then in the E9X, you have the
S65.
S65.
yeah, so you know, I would say, oh, that's M3s, but the S62 was in the M5, right?
And then you have the
The
S65.
S65 was
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, well, that's a V8 with two more
Right,
cylinders.
right.
But as far as the evolution goes, the S54 and the S65 and the S85, right? So that V8, V10, and then the inline six in the S54, those were cars. Those were cars that had parts
not
designed
debating.
specifically for that chassis,
Yeah, I'm not debating
right?
what you're
So
saying.
look,
I
look,
just-
look. E92 behind you, that's a 335. E92 M3 all the way in the back. The quarter panels are different.
Yeah. I know.
Fenders are different.
Thank you, Captain.
Headlights,
Headlights.
I believe, are different, right?
I think it depends on LCI or not.
Yeah,
LCI.
you're absolutely right. Taillights are different. Drive shaft is different.
I understand what you're saying. Just saying the S55 is just not my favorite platform. We've just
I don't think you can get
we've
a
seen
carbon
crank-
roof in a 335.
Oh yeah, right.
You can't get a carbon roof in a 330.
No, I'm saying 335 versus E92 M3. E92 335, the carbon roof is exclusive to an M3.
That's okay. It's the same thing as in a G80, bro. You can't get a carbon roof in a 330 or a 340.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we really get out like a piece of paper
I
and
know,
a pencil and we
I know,
write
but
down
you're
what
saying-
parts cross over from
Yes, I
G20 to a
understand.
G80,
I'm just making a point.
that's it.
It's not only the 335 and the M3.
You know, just like the S55 borrowed a lot of parts from the N55, right? And then you really want to go down this road? And listen, it's fucking powerful. It's a strong engine. It's fast, but the S58 is a B58.
Yes.
Without the B58, you wouldn't have an S58.
I completely.
What M car did B58 come out of?
What
X3 M40.
What did you just say?
What M car did the
Oh, I did
B58
not
come
hear
from?
That
So,
part. I'm so
It's all marketing. So yeah, I'll stand out
Obviously.
on this one and I'll go out on a limb and say the G80 has less of a soul than an F80 does. If you take
I mean, I feel
emotion
like
out of
we're
it
just seeing
and you take opinion out of it.
Some sketchy shit with the S55. The crank hub going through. I mean, we also have seen a rod go through the oil pan in the S58. So
Well, let's put it this way. You're absolutely right. So she's not wrong. The F80 has a crank hub problem. It
literally,
is
like,
it is
the
a
crank hub.
it,
The
it
engine came out and there was no crank hub. There was a hole in the block and in the oil pan because there was no crank hub. It must have been left on the road somewhere.
and the cylinder head, it's supply and demand now,
Yeah,
but
the
it's
cylinder heads
impossible
are
to find a
fucked
good
too.
head. But what I'm saying is think about it this way. Yeah, you got to go drop $3,000 to do a crank hub. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
Now, what happens to all these B58 and S58 long-term ownership when you have a camshaft bolt that fails and backs out, or you have a chain that's making noise? You have to remove the whole engine.
Yeah, you gotta pull it out. I know. I get
So
that.
the F80 boys will be laughing at you. Okay, cool. I spent $3,000 into my crank hub. You got to pull your whole fucking engine out
took
to
off the
replace the
bumper
timing
radiator.
chain.
Had to go down this rabbit hole.
No, I'm not. I'm just taking emotion out of it and just looking
I'm
at
not
this
being
pure.
emotional. I'm just saying, from my personal opinion, I just don't think it's worth it. That's all.
Emotional damage.
I mean, you could find the G80 for the same price range though.
They used to have good prices
Pre-LCI.
for you guys with the.
Oh no, pre LCI. You could find a 2021
Actually,
G80.
with the ones with the damn, what is it? I don't even know what number we're up to. Was it iDrive 7?
For the G80?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was 7 and 8 put in.
Right. So,
You don't want iDrive 8.
oh no,
There's too many
No.
problems.
No. What problems do we have?
I had
We
a.
had this. Have you forgotten like the 4 times, 5 times now that the screen has frozen on me?
Wow, entitled. Entitled.
The
What do
whole
they call them?
screen
Gen
goes
wires? What do they call them? What is
The
your
whole screen
people's?
has gone back on me.
Where do you come from? You're born in what, like 2010?
Me?
4 problems, and you're calling that a problem?
I was
4 times, and that's a problem.
I mean,
That's
that shouldn't-
impressive.
That shouldn't happen though.
I do agree though. It is too much tech. Like I had.
Yeah.
Well, no, where I was going with is there's no fucking buttons.
That's what I hate. So me and her, I was able to take a 5 Series home, the new 5 Series, and dude, I didn't know how to put the heat on. I was there like doing the
Everything's on-
gesture rolls. I'm like,
Everything's
dude,
on the screen.
Everything's touch
Yeah.
screen. I'm like, oh, dude. And like you said, I feel like a car loses its soul with that.
Yeah.
I, mean, I want to hear that. You know what I mean?
Well,
I wanna,
Or press the button.
I
or turn
you
the
know,
dial or something. You know.
I learned to drive on, I wouldn't say because it's manual it was more fun, but because it was manual and I had no screen. My
Neither.
my E92 had no navigation.
My
It was just
2002 Volkswagen had no screen.
no hump,
either.
nothing.
Rare right now.
Nothing, right? So
Can't find
in the G80 now, when you get into it, I don't want CarPlay. I don't want CarPlay. Give me Bluetooth to play music. You shouldn't be talking to anyone when you're driving, right? If you think about it, you really shouldn't be. It's not that important. And number 3, if there's any error messages, like on the G80 right now, we have a
Chassis.
check control message for the chassis from the coilovers. I can't turn on the heated seats until
You hit close.
you clear the button. So think about that.
Literally, you can't touch anything until you hit close on the screen.
So his F80 is looking real fucking attractive now.
I haven't closed it. You're so dramatic.
Because there's a heated seat button.
I used to have a scroll on my 2002 Volkswagen to turn on the heated seat. It scrolled to level 5.
And I don't even think Porsche's like that.
What? With the screen?
Yeah. I think you have buttons in a Porsche still.
I don't know.
I think so.
Thinking of the GT3 RS that we had in here, I think there were buttons in it.
That was too old though.
When does your guys come?
That RS was a
The funds come in.
2018 or 2019. It wasn't.
Still newer, but it's not like obvious.
Yeah, but in 2017 BMW didn't have full iDrive 8. That's what I'm saying. So you got to do pound for pound here. So I don't think the new. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna check.
Fact check. I don't know. I think there's just S55 does nothing for me. I mean, my personal opinion, my favorite car, E92 M3. You're gonna drive it. It's not torquey at all. It just sounds nice, feels nice, drives nice.
I guess. I suppose.
I mean, the S55 has more torque, but it just. What? You found buttons?
I found the 2024 911 GT3 RS with 267 miles at. I'm gonna assume Paul Miller Porsche because it's Parsippany Troy Hills. How much?
I don't even want to guess.
White with the red wheels. It's got the wing. No Weissach, but $459,995.
It's a house,
That's 3 homes.
Jeez.
depending on where you buy. Yeah. Did you see the inside?
I'm googling it.
You're slow.
I see all the outside. Hold on.
You're slow. I would think that it would have buttons still. I don't think that like the interior. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think.
I would think
they went
'cause it's-
digital. I don't think.
I'm thinking of it as like a track car, so like, you know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
You would think in it like
you're, not, you're not in a hot turn. You're like,
yeah, like let me just play with the buttons. Still no answer?
I'm scrolling. Porsche's website is not meant for people like
Just
me
go
because
to a
I'm broke.
picture. Go to Google. Your favorite place.
I'm literally on Porsche's like car and driver looking at the interior and the angles are horrible, but I do see more buttons in the G8. Oh, he didn't see buttons. Game over. So I rest my case. And if anyone spends more than 6 figures on a G80 and you don't entertain the thought of a used Porsche like a 2018, you're a fucking moron.
I mean, the new 2025 M3 M4s, I know that they have on the iDrive 8 screen on the bottom has all the buttons now. like to touch them, to put on like your heated seat.
Touch buttons.
Yeah, like on the actual
Touch screen.
on the touch screen. That's what I'm saying. They're not buttons. Okay, on the touch screen, so you could turn on the fan, like what speed you want the fan, and then
That's how it was on the 5 Series.
yeah, because mine doesn't have that. Mine just has
I had to let her do it. You know, it's not. I mean, I don't know if you should or shouldn't, but you know, obviously, if you're driving, you would want to, in the event of rain or whatever, you would want to adjust the climate. And I feel like they should make
it's
They
difficult.
should make it more driver oriented.
I do it all before I start driving.
Yeah. Well, you don't know what would happen
Right.
or what could happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially if you're on a different screen. Like I usually leave the music screen on most of the time. So.
Talking about that, the night we had that car, it started snowing out of nowhere, and all these cars now are LED, and there's no heat generated. So, as we were driving, it's like,
Whoa, I see where you're going with
it was
this.
like, oh, that's nice, and I'm like, yo, is it falling hard or I just can't see? Dude, how many times we had to stop? I had to stop like 5 times just to clear the headlights because it was just accumulating on the lens because there's no heat generated, penetrated as whatsoever. We literally had to stop in a parking lot and just wait it out.
Yeah,
and
that's not fun.
and
That's
then
not
she started panicking, and I was like, "Listen, we're gonna get us
We're
home."
gonna get home, I promise.
Just
But that's
stop.
like the other conversation we had not long ago about in regards to the X7 that we had here at the shop, and then the 5 Series that you had about the on-off auto start.
Oh yeah. the
So
emissions thing.
after we got that starter from you, and after I went down the rabbit hole in the B58, I would never buy a B58. That's not a manual, at least, right? In relation to the starter, it's bad. There's a
In terms of
software.
location, or-
No, in terms of you can have an issue where that vehicle won't start due to a software update. It thinks the starter is overheating.
It literally stalled. Like I told you, that car stalled while he was driving and couldn't do anything. It just kept restarting the timer on him. It was like doing a countdown for him, and he couldn't start it. Had to get it towed.
What?
Yeah. Crazy.
That's
But yeah,
insane.
like you said, on the newer vehicles, there's no feature to turn off the auto start stop button, which I think is just annoying.
Yeah.
You can't code it out.
Coding out to know, but there's no physical button anymore. Yeah. 'cause
Like, you know how mine says, like, you could turn it off?
But here's my question. You could still get a G80 in manual, right?
Yeah.
You can. 2025, you can get an LCI in manual with the new headlights.
I don't know if it has that auto start stop.
So that's
on.
what I asked her. I see where you're going with this. Well, what if you leave it in gear or
I actually
you
tried
press
it.
the clutch?
It didn't do anything.
it didn't do anything?
Yeah,
right?
it's when
So
you're, I think, in neutral only.
it'll
It'll
right,
turn off
'cause-
the vehicle because you're not in gear, essentially. But,
or if you have the clutch engaged.
I mean, I tried, but I mean, maybe I didn't do it long enough. I don't know. But I turned that feature off because I think it's annoying.
Well,
But
it's
yeah,
bad for
if-
the bearings, too.
Yeah, but also at the same time, if you have a manual vehicle, like you can't turn it off. I mean, I think it's kind of pointless on a manual vehicle if you ask me, but I just think it's just not a good feature.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I don't think it's that great. I mean, you can give your 2 cents in about the auto stop.
Auto
stuff.
start stop is horrible.
Yeah.
It's not good for the main bearings, and it just the starter too.
Yeah.
You got to engage that starter depending on what type of driving you do. More traffic driving, it's bad. It's just not worth it. And now you're saying you can't turn it off? No button.
No button.
Wow.
How times are evolving.
I know, right?
I don't
It's
think
like
I
they're
would,
forcing you to.
but that's just kind of stupid in my opinion. Think about it. Every red light or every time you stop, it's going to stop on you and then turn back on as soon as you release the brake.
Well, when you live
It
in the
saves
country like
gas.
us, don't worry about that.
I mean, that's just annoying.
It saves gas.
But does it?
Yeah, it technically
Yeah,
does.
quote unquote. Does it though?
No, it does. It does. It
I
just
don't know,
it's
I just
at
go
at the expense of
Your starter.
your starter and your main bearings. So
I literally said to his dad, I was like, you are turning that feature off.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not going through another starter. I'm like, you are turning the feature off. All
Can
of
you
your
code it out with it having the button? Like,
yeah, right now in G07 X7 you can code it out completely.
oh.
I don't
but
know why
also it still
people-
has a button, so just press it so that the button's lit up all the
No,
time.
I mean, rather code it out than having to
No, because then
every day.
knowing some people, they would just try and press the button, and who knows what that'll do. But whatever.
Oh, yeah, right.
So carbon fiber parts.
Oh, wait. Positives before we go to carbon.
Yes, sorry. So what are your takeaways as far as what do you like?
What I like is two main things is knowledge and opportunities. The knowledge, obviously, for self, get more familiarized within the auto industry, parts, you know, you get somewhat mechanically savvy with,
100%.
seeing certain things or, trickling here and there.
100%.
The other thing, opportunities, of course, because, like, look, I count this as an opportunity because who knows where this will go, you know what I'm saying? I was able to go to SEMA, you know what I mean? So
You guys also, obviously, we're not going to disclose this, but you guys also, your dealer that you work for, sponsor a lot of
Cool stuff.
cool things.
yeah.
We're not going to get into it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that'll
Bullshit.
just obviously give it away. But
Bullshit.
yeah, you guys
Yeah,
sponsor a lot of cool things, and I think that's a really good opportunity as well.
Right, that's how
because
I look
you
at
are
it.
networking with a lot of people.
Right.
So that's definitely something that you wouldn't have if you.
Yeah, that's
Wouldn't be
my
where
two
you are.
biggest
Yeah.
takeaways from this whole thing.
I mean, and I'm going to assume that, having been there for 20 years now, that the work environment must be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not favorable, but it's got to be a place that you enjoy going into, right? Where you can,
Oh yeah, I mean,
You can,
just,
you
just
know-
the group and team that we have, like we cut ass all day. You know what I mean?
I mean, the times that I go, it's
Yeah.
just always a shit
And-
show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know. And
guys
we're
are very-
all around the same age, so we grew up with that tough skin. So we're going hardcore on each other. Not like now they're like, oh, that's offensive. Oh, you can't say that now.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's also a generational problem, right? But when you find, it's not only like-minded people, it's also an age thing, right? And you find people that are close in age to you where you can have a work environment where you can bullshit for 4 out of those 8 hours and still get the work done. If you come up with
100%,
a set of policies and procedures and you bust ass for 4 hours, you can literally get paid 40 hours and work 20, But the issue is there's entitlement, and these young kids feel like, you're not owed anything. You don't deserve anything. You got to work for it, and that's when it becomes, a not fun working environment.
Yeah,
I guess if that makes any sense.
That's where my boss comes into play. Like, obviously there's downtime everywhere, and he oversees it. You know what I mean? Sometimes he'll let us rock because he knows, like you said,
When it's time to work,
we
Shit
get down
gets done.
to it. We get shit done. We handle it, and go back to bullshit.
You guys have a good group of people
Yeah,
that you guys all, like, when you guys all work together, you guys work together very well.
yeah.
I mean, I've obviously have seen it, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about it. There was a pause there because it's like, in a perfect world, right? And I tell everyone this, don't put a timeline on it. And you just said it. You just never know when, right? When an opportunity may present itself.
Right.
And a lot of these young dudes are looking at, well, what's the pay rate? What's the salary? What's the benefits? How many weeks off? Do I get dental? Do I get this, that? Do I get a stipend to go to a words hurt class because I have feelings, right? But no, in a perfect world, in 5 years, 10 years, we definitely want to scale the part side of things. So it's like you sit back and you go, wow, it's not that hard, but it is hard to find that one person that you can rely on to be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Knowledgeable.
back in the day, and I started, I used to do tires, right? I did some bullshit, backbreaking hard work for like almost 5 years straight, right? Dealing with a lot of shit, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the floor. Finding that person that you can rely on to be like, all right, we can BS now, but that person doesn't come to me to ask a stupid question, right? Or that person can be relied upon to organize your shelf or know exactly where a part, whatever the case might be. And I don't think we have that type of environment anymore.
Yeah, no.
We 100% don't.
Even if we
unfortunately.
do, it's on the downhill. You know what I mean? Because like once people like us leave or retire or whatsoever, then
God, I feel bad for
you're
the
like,
next
yeah,
group
you're
of
like,
people.
holy shit, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen,
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's low-key scary. Like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna leave this in good hands, but are you really?
Yeah, or even like I said, you have a body shop that like wants to put in a 15, 20 grand order, and you're like, you're trusting that guy, like, hey, I'm gonna get all this over to you within the time frame that I told you, and it's like hit or miss nowadays with these new jacks. You know what I mean? who knows if, they understood you or took you seriously or didn't even follow through or whatever they
know
had
better.
to do. Yeah, it's crazy.
Looking-
And I told her, like, I have a handful of people, which obviously you guys are, but a handful of people that have my personal number. And, like, they're just, like, straight cutthroat. They know what they need. They're not to bullshit, even though we bullshit. But,
I'm not bullshitting to waste time. I'm bullshitting because
Right.
like that's who I am as a person. I cut up with people. Like I'm just
even my other guys, they call me and then we shoot the shit a little bit and
Yeah.
then boom, yo, I
Yep.
need blah 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 blah. You can get it to me, got you.
Yeah.
And they don't have to worry. It's done.
Well, you know what it is? I think it also comes down to that generational problem where it's like, all right, if we have a large order that comes in, or like most folks don't understand, like I know sometimes she'll push through a weird order of like just a bunch of genuine BMW bolts and nuts and washers and shit. And it's like when you rebuild an engine though, right? You got so many different parts. So it's like the right way to do it, that's our job, right? So I can do one of two things. I can either spend the extra 3 hours that night, work late, get the quote done, get the part numbers that I need, and then have her order the parts. Or I can just have her send you the VIN, order the parts.
yeah.
Now I'm not
that's
saying I don't, trust you to do it or any professional that is capable of doing it, but it's accountability,
Right.
right? So that
Right.
if, let's just
Say
say,
if I misplaced and got the incorrect bolt.
Exactly.
That delays you.
But
Yeah.
it's also
Exactly.
if you think about
See,
it.
I get that.
But it's all if you also think about it. Let's say we're doing a whole engine refresh. My definition of what an engine refresh is different to what your definition
Right.
is. Like you may just
Something
think
as simple as a tune-up.
Right.
Oh, let me get a tune-up for this. Like, what do you call a tune-up?
right,
You know?
but that's what I'm saying. So it's like that's another reason why I personally don't do it that way. I'd rather just have all my parts and my part numbers and my quantity, send it over and be like, I need a quote, or just order it and send it to me. That's all I do, because I just don't think that it makes sense to send someone a VIN and be like, this is what we're doing, this is what I need, because my definition is different than your definition of what could be needed.
so
you know?
who do we have to kidnap to get some sort of like online ordering system where we can just, implement a username, a login, and
don't
makes
think that's gonna
everyone's life easier?
I think someone would get fired for that, or
No, we just got to steal someone's cat or something that they love
Someone's
that's high
cat.
up, that's in charge, and, we can figure it out.
no one needs to steal any animals. Leave the animals alone. I don't think it's gonna happen in our lifetime.
It's the really crazy part, and this is why I'm a cynical person, but no hope for humanity. It's I find myself catching what our parents used to say. You kids don't work like we used to, and it's like they're not wrong. And now I catch myself saying it, and it's
right?
like, when is this watered down process? When is it going to stop? So, it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. But how much do you know about the genuine BMW carbon fiber parts?
I would say a smidge. 'Cause
So
half of the people can't afford the BMW genuine carbon fiber unless they pre-ordered it on the car itself from the port. But
and then they go with the Ling Long special eBay edition that doesn't fit.
Ling Long
but
special
I'm
edition.
curious to know, like, I know a factory installed carbon fiber roof on a G80, right? That stuff is good, right?
yeah,
and I know you
majority
guys.
of it's made by Akrapovic.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that just blew my mind.
Mind has been fucked.
Yeah. Oh, you never seen it?
We
So
work.
If you were to get a
Hold on.
genuine piece,
I know Akrapovic is a supplier on Volkswagen exhaust parts.
Well, they're the exhaust manufacturer, of course.
Well, they
But-
manufacture exhaust
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like carbon fiber pieces, but I
Yeah, yeah. If you look on some of I haven't seen any lately, but majority of they would have a Akrapovic label on the back of it.
On a genuine BMW carbon fiber part. Like, what kind of carbon fiber part?
like, are we
Either-
talking about like the spoiler or like
Diffuser, spoiler, mirror caps.
my you just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I
But
did not
again,
know
like I
that.
said, it's $500 for one mirror cap. So then we don't sell.
Well,
It's
no,
worth it.
we can get a Akrapovic from one of our suppliers, one of our performance suppliers, and like we've dealt with them a couple times. But I honestly didn't. You just blew my mind on that. Did
I like
you know
that we
that?
got the name correct though.
I did not know
Akrapovic?
that.
That's
Yeah,
I
I know.
we thought it back in the day was
It's Akrapovic.
that's what we thought it was, and then our sales rep was like, no, it's Akrapovic.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, right? I didn't. That just was like. Exactly. Thank you. Wow.
I'm saying, you see, it's the little shit that you learn, and I learned that because, just checking and seeing what shit is, you know, and you're looking at the back of it, you're like, oh shit.
So they put their actual
Because
name
they're-
and logo on it.
Yeah, on the back end, obviously. Because at one point, I don't know if they're still doing it. At one point, I forgot what chassis. It was the F80 chassis. The M Sport
Like that
exhaust
performance.
is Akrapovic. Yeah.
Oh, M Sport.
Yeah, like
The performance, sorry.
M
the
Performance.
The full
very
titanium.
special people who buy those Lambo trucks, the Urus. Urus. What's
Urus?
plural for Urus? And they don't understand it's the same car as an RSQ8, and you got played for another $250,000.
Whatever.
Akrapovic is the supplier on the exhaust. It's all over stamped on the exhaust.
Wow.
Akrapovic.
I wonder who makes the spoiler then for that platform. The M Performance spoiler, because it comes on the CS, and I really like that one.
I don't know. You would only see on the back end.
I haven't looked. We have a customer, my detailer, Reflective Details. He has a CS, F82 CS, and he has an M Performance spoiler on it. It came like that. Beautiful spoiler. I normally don't like wing spoilers, anything like that.
Their weave is.
It's not even that. It's just the look of it. How it sits on the actual trunk is so nice. The only one.
Like Matt said, it's worth the money.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's also like Adros.
what do we got to do to? How much would it cost?
You're trying to milk someone who, like, you can't milk him.
Well, I'm
You're
just saying,
talking to
hold
the
on.
Wrong person.
Need some more tacos, bro.
What can we do to like order a carbon fiber J80 roof and just have you open it up and send it back, but let us know where it came from? Like
Roof? Nah, that's a
Akrapovic?
different story.
That's cool to know though, and that, guys, is why your Ling Long eBay absolute dog shit hood, lip, spoiler,
skirts.
carbon fiber mirror caps will yellow in 2 months, or all these
The
online
clear coat fades.
fly by night guys buy carbon fiber parts now. It's coming from China, and apparently some of these BMW parts are Akrapovic, which is
Mind blowing.
that's mind blown.
Yeah. Remind me.
Wow.
I'll see if I send you a picture Monday. If I have anything.
You really just blew my mind with that.
Yeah.
Wow, I did
As
not
you
know
can see,
that.
we're a little speechless. I was not.
And it's in the clear coat too. That makes it so much better too.
I'm
Wow.
just mind blown by that. I was not expecting that.
Now wait, you said F chassis though, right?
Yeah, that was the last time I saw it.
It could still be G chassis, but now, the fact that BMW, I mean, listen, there's no secret that they would use Akrapovic, but I didn't know for carbon fiber parts. So now I'm just pissed that we didn't order more carbon shit when we ordered the G80.
I didn't
So now anyone wants to steal it, cash me out. We get the LCI.
Cash me outside. How
And
about
we're going to load that. We're going to load it up with carbon fiber parts.
minus the bucket seats.
Yeah. Right.
Not if it's Akrapovic.
Right.
Now you got him on the whole thing. He's gonna go down
Yeah,
the
right.
rabbit
He's gonna
hole
go
later,
down the rabbit
watching,
hole.
like researching this whole situation.
Damn.
I did not know that, nor did I expect that. But that's interesting. It makes sense because I know Akrapovic has really nice product when it comes to their carbon stuff. I know it's really expensive.
Yeah, it is.
You know the story on those two? Two
What?
brothers
What?
that started the company.
Oh, really?
Two brothers, motorcycle nutheads, gearheads.
That's how they really started.
Yep,
Motorcycle.
motorcycle exhaust, right? I think Hungary. I could be wrong. I'm gonna Google it.
Not too certain.
We have their entire catalog up on our website.
Oh,
And I go through their products.
We sell nothing.
Yeah, no one wants to buy it.
Nobody buys it, yeah.
We had a couple bites during that whole, PPP money stuff, but then
No one wants to spend $9,000, $10,000
The
on
only thing that we
exhaust.
would consider stocking, it's Numerical caps. If somebody's on a good day and they
Yeah, they're like $500-$600.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the cheap
other than
end.
other than that,
Yeah.
there's nothing else.
Doesn't make sense.
And the reason I knew this for the F80 chassis because, we ordered one set of whatever, just to try to push it. Of course, people see the price
Yeah.
tag and they're like, eh.
Of course.
And then I get to play with it. I'm like, oh,
Let me see.
yeah, exactly.
Did you figure it out?
Slovenian,
Oh.
Slovenia.
founded in 1990, 34 years old.
Interesting. Who would have known?
Wow, they're the supplier for the exhaust on the Cohen's egg.
Oh,
Interesting. Who would have known?
right.
Who would have known?
Not me.
Wild.
More carbon fiber parts when we order the next BMW.
More you know.
If we do.
I don't really care. The G80 like is not really lacking anything for me in regards to like carbon parts.
Oh,
I don't care about it inside.
not even Akrapovic?
Great, but like I don't.
You know what blows my
Aesthetically,
mind
it doesn't
now?
do anything for me. You know what I mean? Like the
I get
bumper was a huge thing for me because I
Yeah,
thought the
yeah,
bumper
yeah.
was really ugly.
Yeah.
Putting the Adra bumper on made it look a little nicer in my opinion. It made it look more aggressive. But to go all these carbon pieces, it's not a show car. I'm not showing it. So
It's not a show car. Let me wrap it purple.
Puerto Rican purple is Matt calls it.
So it's interesting because
Meanwhile, we're both Puerto Rican.
I think I was born here, honey. I think Akrapovic might be. This has got me going on in my mind now.
Down the rabbit hole.
Hold on. What do they call it? The G80 quad tip. What do you call that carbon fiber?
The diffuser?
Yeah. No, it's that. What package is it?
Oh, are you talking about the one that's like
The quad tip exhaust option for the
Oh,
G80.
the performance exhaust? that
MPE.
triangle
MPE.
shit?
Yeah. That belongs on a Porsche, not the BMW.
Yeah.
The carbon fiber diffuser. If you look at the style of that and you look at the style of the wing that Akrapovic offers, they look very similar.
But that's what I'm saying about the F82 CS that Reflective has and his rear end performance wing. It reminds me a lot of what I've seen off of Akrapovic, which makes sense now. If you're saying
Yeah.
that was the last platform you saw, it makes sense to me because it's just very sleek. It wasn't overdone.
Well, if you could just get me a picture over,
I got you.
I'm going to sell the shit out of Akrapovic now. You don't need genuine BMW. Look at you. Akrapovic, OE,
Marketing.
much cheaper.
That's
Wow. That's good to know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. I'm still processing that. That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I would have used that as a marketing
selling
standpoint
point,
a
yeah.
long time ago.
I mean,
yeah.
BMW dropped the ball clearly.
No. Not at all. That's something you don't necessarily want everyone
not
to
saying
know.
it like
You know, I
that,
mean,
but,
listen,
like,
it's not a big concern because not many people are going to drop the coin in that anyway. But you know,
I feel like I don't know many people with Akrapovic parts. No one wants to
I
spend
only
money.
know one guy with a full titanium Afro exhaust.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I had a lady who called me twice last year. I gave her a price on credit card, see it next day, or cash. That I be there in 1 hour. She never showed up. She calls like 2 months later. I'm like, yeah, I spoke to you about this 2 months ago. She goes, I come cash, okay? I bring cash, you give me a good price. Never showed up. No one buys them.
I had someone
They're
with
just too
an
expensive.
M8 reach out in regards to when the M8 first came out. He reached out and he was like, "Oh, how much would it be to put a whole exhaust in the M8?" And it was like $12,000. And I was like, I don't really foresee you dropping 12 grand on
Yeah.
an exhaust. That doesn't make sense to me, but
I mean, I don't know if you guys feel that too, but like being in the not only the mechanical game, but the parts game for a while, when you talk to a specific individual,
you
can't
could tell right
you
off
can-
the
right?
rip. Yeah.
You already know who's like, yeah, you're not buying that.
Yeah. When people hear a price tag, I want to, like, this is so bad to say, but I feel like any price tag that's over $400, people are just like, I'm okay. I'll call you back.
Yeah, they hit you with the
Yeah.
Well, I also think that, again, also a generational problem, but there's this false sense of this just connotation where, okay, so if you want to run a successful business, you have to do things this way. You know, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's, and you have to, the whole mantra, the customer is always right. And I disagree with that. I had someone call me, and it's not about being disrespectful, but, you know, oh, I need bearings. What size
size?
bearings do you need? I don't know, bro. Where's the car? It's in my boy's shop. Now, I already know how to play this. I said, where's your boy's shop located? Oh, he's on East 43rd with the Shell station. I said, go get the car, pull the car out of the shop, right? And he's listening to me. He's not playing with me. I'm like, here's what you're gonna do. He's like, boss, I'm listening. I'm like, go to the shop, get the car out. damn, really? I said, yeah, pull the car out and bring it to a professional
Yeah.
who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, we get.
And
those
that's
calls
how
all the
you
time.
have to speak to people
Yeah,
sometimes.
dude's like, they're like, they want shells. All right, what color?
What do you mean, what color?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean, what color?
Well, what does your crankshaft indicate? Oh, I don't know. What? Okay.
I was like, you gotta ask your mechanic. They should know what they're looking at on the crank, the block. Oh, they just told me to call. They don't know. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. You got it in front of you.
Do
And
I
then
have?
I had
do I have
one guy
television?
come
Laser vision, whatever it's called.
with like a picture of the front cover, like literally took a picture of the front cover. Can you tell what color it takes? Like, no, dude, no.
Did you know S58, you might know, S58 dropped the color classification for bearings now.
I did not know
No
that.
way, I did not know that.
They use numbers now.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
1, 2, 3 or something like that. Yep. No more color classification on S58 for main
Is the
bearings.
B58 the same way?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know
Oh, we
B50.
could look.
I mean, you could look.
We could
Oh, you
look.
got a block here, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think that you may have an S58 that may have a color classification, but that color classification correlates to a number now. And you need access to already be able to see that with the
Interesting.
VIN.
I'd
yeah.
be curious to see. I mean, putting in my VIN to see what it comes back. Well, obviously, I don't have my crankshaft out, but
Yeah.
we have a S58 crankshaft too and a block.
You should look into that on Monday.
I definitely will. Knowledgeable.
All right. You see, knowledge.
Knowledgeable.
The more you know,
The more you know,
The more you grow.
the more you what?
the more you grow.
You've never heard that saying before? Oh, God.
I just did.
Anyway.
Anyway, so yeah, wow. So we learned a lot of cool new shit from someone, that we've never had. Not that we didn't know you, but
Yeah,
if
I
we
know,
never
I know,
sat
I
down today, right, and cut it up for a long time now, over 2 hours, we never would have known
Yeah. All this information.
Akrapovic is,
And
yeah.
you would
So
have never
see,
known about the crankshaft and the number
Oh, yeah,
and colors
that's what
now.
I'm saying.
but it's back to what you brought up. It's you just don't know what that opportunity may bring to the table for you. You just don't know. So I mean,
True.
I asked pretty much all the questions that I thought would interest me, and I find it pretty cool to meet someone who's been at the same place for 20 years, because I think that speaks leaps and bounds for you as an individual, right? Being a hard worker and also being able to
Slap yourself in the back.
adapt too, right? Because 20 years, there's a lot of evolution that happens over 20 years, both
Exactly what I was
professional
gonna
and
say.
personal. So to hang around there for that long, I would say that puts you at the top of the food chain, so to speak,
Kinda,
which is a
yeah.
good thing.
We're the go-to guys.
Yeah.
In my
So-
area,
The more knowledgeable.
yeah.
The most knowledgeable.
I asked all the questions I had,
Yeah.
so unless you have anything,
No.
you know.
We basically
So,
discussed everything that I wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I'll pass it off to you, Elise. And if there's anything else, Ryan, you have, let us know, man.
Nah, I mean,
Putting him on the spot now.
all right.
I mean, I think we basically went over everything. I mean, you definitely gave a lot of good talking points to go over today.
Yeah, I was just curious,
Yeah, I mean, look, that was good. You had more talking points than I thought. Like, I thought we were just gonna bullshit for a little while. That's why. They were good questions. I very surprised. Very good job. Pat yourself on the back.
Last thing I'm going to say, just get me the location of those powers it may be that make our stuff late and makes your life hell. I'll find them. I'll kidnap their cat, send them a picture. You don't get the cat back until
What? Okay,
we figure
last
this.
episode was about cocaine. This one's about cats now. Why?
Because I don't like cats. I like dogs, though. I love dogs. I'm a dog
Do you-
lover.
Never mind. I'm not gonna ask
Like
questions.
thinking not in Ohio.
Oh,
The dogs and cats.
that's all right. Poppy Trump is going to stop that. We're good.
Anyway.
Monday.
Anyway, appreciate you for coming and being
Appreciate you
our
having me.
first guest on the
I know, right?
podcast. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to watch out for episode 5. And as always, like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Save TikTok.
Tiki Talk?